gonna go sit on your face.
Crackers.
I got him to stop.
Do it. Do it.
Oh no. Oh no.
Do it.
Yeah, we never have shit actually prepared for these podcasts, so y'all better love what we do, all right? Until we can make this a full-time job, y'all get what you fucking get.
It is what it is.
What it is, boy. So, yeah, I don't know when I'm cutting back into this, but I'll just let y'all know now. This is going to be a Manhwa episode because we've been neglecting the fuck out of that. And we do have other stuff to talk about. Luckily, there's no like breaking news shit to talk about right now.
Oh, Kenton, you read Leviathan?
Hey, we'll get this shit.
A little bit.
Hey, shut up.
I'm sorry.
We'll get there. It's the whole point of this episode, all right? Well, actually, fuck it. We're already there. Talk about Leviathan, motherfucker.
Are we starting with you?
Oh, yeah, we're starting with you.
Oh, okay.
Since y'all want to get it the fuck out of the way already. Shit.
I just got excited. I'm sorry.
And these will be semi-quick because, again, it's been a long time since I've read these, but
So you didn't do the assignment.
No,
You're
I
cheating.
did. I
You're
did.
fucking cheating.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Uh-huh.
I did go and read some chapters of these to, like, I just read like a few and then
So
I
you
remembered.
did a refresher.
Yeah. And then I remembered stuff.
That
So I was like,
technically counts.
Yeah. I
All
did
right.
go and read. I did go and read. I did.
Okay, motherfucker.
You get a C.
And that's passing.
Trust
I'll
me,
take
C's
it.
get degrees, bro. All right. Well, we're gonna start with Leviathan anyway because I already said so, and I'm not gonna be made a liar.
Dang.
All right. In the world, do you want to do it?
Oh,
Okay. In the world where the sea level has risen, the sea has already covered the continent. In the land where in the world where the land cannot be found anymore, the family of the boy Boda, it's just boat with the A in a different spot, a small boat, and wanders around. I am looking for another man somewhere, and I am safe in the rules that my father has set.
That synopsis sucks.
yeah, that's not that great.
Ass. Holy
So
shit.
I wrote my own.
Okay, good.
Thank God.
Good.
So what I said was, in a world nearly entirely sunken into the ocean and ruled by sea monsters, human harpoonists, scavengers, pirates, and entire civilizations fight to survive. It's been a minute since I've read this, and I have not read all of it. So that is the catch.
I haven't read all of it either. I started reading it, and then they got to the fan service, and I was a little thrown off.
Yeah. So I will say one thing, too, before I get into explaining any of these. I read all of these on a site or app or whatever service called Tumix. And it's one of those sites where I got spammed a whole bunch by their ads on like social media with those weird like poses and like questionable stuff.
So you're one of the horny degenerates keeping this shit going.
I did it once, yes. And I was like, you know what? I see this all the time. Fuck it. I'm going to try it out. And I did.
So he was just sitting there. It was like, you know what? I can bust a nut right now. Let's try it.
And I paid VIP for to read some stuff.
You didn't even check
bit.
for it. Never mind.
Never mind.
I don't know. I did. There were some comics that I read that were very raunchy and not for kids. Very uncensored, I guess I should say.
He busted that nut real good, is what he said.
So are you?
Yes.
So glowing penises?
Well, okay, maybe I wasn't busting nuts to it, but I was interested enough to pay VIP and to read those comics.
Was it glowing penises or just penises?
Huh?
Like, do you know, like...
you said censored.
You said
used the word...
Oh, I see what you mean now.
Yeah.
I don't think anything that I read actually showed a penis, but there were a lot of boobies.
All right,
there was a lot of boobies.
Okay, I thought you were confessing that you were reading Pornhwa instead of, like...
That's
so that's right now. Yeah, well, because it's...
All fucking sources point until you went to this place for Pornhwa.
No, I don't think...
Which
any
also,
of the
my
comics...
G, never pay for porn. What are we doing?
Well, that's
what
the
are we
thing, though.
doing?
No, listen.
Rule number fucking one.
No, okay, but listen though.
You could pay for some
The
porn.
stories seemed interesting, and it was manga anime-esque. So I was like, okay, the story's interesting a little bit, and then they get into the sex and the boobies and the stuff, which is extra on top, I guess. But it's like, okay, after a while of reading those comics on that site, I found some other comics on that site that were actually like not that, but. Oh yeah, fireworks! Yeah. Happy 4th of July!
Happy 4th of July!
It's the 2nd of July right now, as we're recording.
This will be out in sometime in fucking August, so it doesn't matter anyway.
I didn't say it.
Maybe it'll be there if y'all really want your inboxes spammed.
So
I'm gonna pause you for 1 second.
Yeah,
you pay for artists who do interesting art that might happen to be porn. You don't pay for porn.
That's okay. We're in agreement. All right.
Yes. But yeah, no, this was almost a decade ago.
I'm kidding. OnlyFans artists, sex work is real work. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's art.
Get a real fucking job.
Sitting on a bouncy ball with a dildo up your
Bruh.
No.
Yes.
This is gonna dumping 3 dozen raw eggs on yourself.
Art.
Yeah. Call that art.
Modern art.
Yeah.
Abstract modern.
Abstract modern art. Holy fuck. Anywho, sorry.
No, you're good. So, yeah, the site that I was reading all this stuff on, very sketchy, but it did have really good reads on there, such as this one, Leviathan. I got really into it, and I think the chapters were still releasing as I was reading this. I don't know if
Did you know that there's an anime?
Is there?
I'm pretty sure there's an anime for it.
Because I was curious about that. I saw people talking about it when I re-looked this up, and the stuff I read said that they were looking forward to an anime. I didn't look up to see if it was an anime yet, but if it's an anime, I'm watching that shit because it's really good. Stories, really, really good. The action's nice. The art.
I have to remind myself sometimes that manga and manhwa titles that use English words are not meant for English SEO. Because that is impossible to look up without like a bunch of extra qualifiers, and I don't feel like typing.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of funny actually because these are mostly manhwa, and I didn't realize I was reading manhwa before I ever thought about reading manga or watching much anime. This was before I did.
I'm hitting the point that I'm starting to think that most anime that we watch started as manhwa,
right?
Not manga,
right? Which is kind of crazy.
I don't know about that. I think
maybe
I was under the impression that solo leveling was kind of the breakthrough for Manhwa.
I feel like most of the shows that we have binged lately, even like the stuff that's not brand new or has been out before solo leveling, has all been manhwa based.
I feel like it's kind of like more recently it's exploded because like when I was a kid,
I guess
all the manga books you read
were manga. True.
Mm.
But I feel like so when I say most of, I'm talking like in the entirety, not the stuff that we got exposed to as like American kids. There's a shocking amount of anime now that we're digging into it more now.
Oh, like even
that have
older ones?
Well, I guess, yeah. Ignore me. I'm talking shit.
Oh.
Don't worry. I'm just saying stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a failure. No. Anywho, sorry, Leviathan.
Yeah. Like
we're talking about manga right now, not just you and the rest
of you. But yeah, I think I was reading this when it was still releasing chapters, at least on the service I was using it was. And I was paying for the VIP service, so it was still releasing under that service too. So yeah, should I have done all the VIP stuff? Probably not, but hey, I got to read all this cool stuff, so I was chilling with it. I don't remember too much of the story. What I did reread, it kind of brought back a lot of the memories. The art kind of, and I guess the world, to a sense, reminds me of BioShock a little bit.
Okay.
And I don't know. I think it's really, really cool. Action scenes are dope. Again, art style's really good. The story's compelling. There's some really great panels. And this is, consistent across the few that I'm going to talk about in depth. Just the art is wild. Yeah, there's some fan servicey stuff
If you
in there.
scroll left and right, you'll see actual great panels, not just ass.
Fair.
But like, it's just phenomenal
It's
what
only
some of these
Regression,
like
that one, I think.
you know spreads look like. And but yeah, I really wanted, after doing this whole assignment, I'm like, okay, I actually really want to read these, but I want to find another service to read them on.
Fair.
Yeah. This is one of them that I really want to revisit because I remember being really interested. I think I just had to keep waiting for the next weekly update, and I stopped using the service because I realized how bullshit it was. So, yeah, this was one of the, collateral damaged comics I just ended up stopping reading because of that.
Fair enough.
Didn't know that it was elsewhere. I wasn't into
you
the
never
manga.
thought to try and Google it?
No,
Fair.
I wasn't in the manga, manhwa, anime world totally yet. Like I
Not
didn't
at
even
all.
watch my first anime when I started reading all this.
I'll be honest. I was so deep in the pirating world that I know, right?
Yeah.
I was so deep into pirating that like I was so used to just Googling shit first, always that was just second nature for me.
Yeah, fair
But
enough.
anyway, Leviathan.
Yeah, so I don't think that's on the service anymore. I just checked. I don't see it. So maybe they also realized that being on that service was a little bullshit and
Probably.
moved elsewhere.
If that service wasn't just scraping the internet for shit, and they finally got like legal action taken.
Probably, honestly. But all the other stories are still on there that I'm going to talk about.
Okay.
So that is a thing. But yeah, it highly recommend it. I like the character interactions. Again, this is consistent through all the stories I'm going to go deeper into. The character interactions is kind of what, really stood out to me, because a lot of character interactions could be pretty bland. You get really invested in these characters and their story that you want to see them through.
Okay.
So
I would like to issue a correction. I have not been able to find any confirmation of a Leviathan anime, and if they were doing one, I would think they would be announcing it a little more readily. They definitely should, though. This one's
yes.
really, really cool.
I agree. Monsters are wild. The monsters are crazy, dude.
Yeah, I saw a little
They
bit
are.
of it.
I think I've only
Okay,
read till like
screenshot.
chapter 12, maybe 20. But even then, I was deeply impressed.
Yeah, I got I think it said that I read up to like 40 something before I stopped. And it's like 200. Well, you could probably see it. Yeah, 217 right there. Yeah.
What is my hair doing right now?
So yeah, I really want to get back into this and continue reading it
It's fine.
because I heard it pops off even more.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to get back into this. Highly recommend it. Really, really good. Good all around. From what I remember and from what I caught up on,
Mm-hmm.
it's a pretty much a must read
Okay.
Yeah.
if you're
Very
into that type of genre action world.
Would highly recommend.
Yeah.
All right. Sweet.
Let's see. Yep. So this.
What is the one you want to talk about?
The deep ones I want to talk about.
Do you want to talk about those
Let's
right now?
go to the next skims.
Okay, let's go through the skims.
Yeah, okay. The Skims, Munchkin Quest. I remember reading this. I didn't do a checkup on this one, but I remember this one distinctly. I didn't remember liking it. So the synopsis is like, if you zoom in there, it's basically, yeah, adventures into the psychic organization nerd. It gives me Mob Psycho vibes a little bit. From what I remember. It's kind of like a group of them, more or less, coming together and taking on missions and stuff. So it's kind of cool in that sense. Each of them have like powers, and they got this like organization that they're trying to go
How harem
against.
is it?
Yeah, because I feel like it's harem-y.
And it probably is a little bit.
Okay.
Probably. I don't remember much of the romance stuff that happened in here, if there's really any.
You have an MC and 3 leading females on this
Yeah.
cover with him. That's
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, is it just like all women in this universe are hot, or is it like
the 3 femcs are.
I wish I remembered.
cool?
Yeah, but hey, I didn't hate this one, and I read quite a bit of it, so it must have been okay. Because if I hated it, I would not have read so much of it.
Does this mean it's over?
Yes,
There's an ending?
when it says end, that
All right,
means it's
sweet.
fully completed. So I say that you should try it out. If it's not for you, then it's not for you. But from what I remember enjoying it, and it wasn't too fan servicey, I don't think, but maybe it is. I'm just not remembering those parts.
This art alone doesn't
You
strike
know,
me as super fan servicey. Like
If
it's
you
not gonna
actually enjoyed the plot, your brain has a crazy way of just making those fan service moments.
I was
like-
gonna say,
Disappear.
you better go back and look. 'Cause
Yeah, that's with a service like what this service is. I wouldn't be surprised if they put some risque things in there. But if this was fully just full frontal ass and titties, I'd probably remember and wouldn't recommend this. But
like I said, just based off this cover alone, I doubt it. You might get a beach episode.
yeah,
once
you'll
or twice in
probably
this
get your
manga.
typical couple pages of fan service here and there, I'm sure. But I don't think it was too
Acoustic, yeah.
egregious.
Yeah. Okay.
Fluff, did you say they're all attractive?
Yeah.
That
thought
one
he
has
asked.
glasses on.
Oh God, you're right.
There's a couple more.
You're right.
Got 'em.
Plus 2
that's the
points.
other
She's a
skim one.
12.
Yep. And this one I did read all of, and it's very cute. It's not raunchy or anything. It's just like a love story comedy of, the nerd. They both work at the same office.
We're all going to stop you for a second. What is the
Yeah.
name of this manga?
Annoying Alice.
There you go.
Sorry. This one's called Annoying Alice. And as
9.9. Sorry.
yeah, it seems like a lot of people
That's-
really like this one.
I
Just
hate
as
that
I
it's
did.
5 stars.
Me
Yeah.
too.
I hate that the visual rating is 5 stars, but the fucking score is 9.9.
9.9.
Well, he's just denominated by half stars. That's their
Oh.
official
This is a fucking
measurement.
scale of half stars. You get 10 half stars out of 10.
It's
babes.
like the Minecraft heart system.
Oh God.
But yeah, no, it's basically just two people working at the same company, and she annoys him a lot, but she's also cute in doing so, and they both like each other, but it's the whole like will they won't they type thing.
I
And
hate it already.
every chapter is kind of like almost a new scenario, but then it starts to get like that continuity thing happening with the storyline. It's like, oh snap, there's an actual storyline happening now,
Oh, okay. I know what you mean.
and then
So
it's
it's like, okay.
yeah.
There's like little vignette stories about this bit. Sorry.
And then
Yeah.
they start doing like, well, this vignette needs 2 vignettes, and now the 2 vignettes are just prolonging into a bigger vignette, and now
And then
it's
there's a
just
flashback.
and
Like
then there's a flashback.
the Grand Duke. Like the some of the Grand Duke of Hell. I can't remember that one. I'll look it up. Continue talking. Sorry.
Shit.
Yeah. But no, the
9.8,
arts,
9.7, 9.7. It's just these first chapters. It seems pretty consistent.
yeah, no, the art's pretty simple, nothing crazy, but again, I think it's just the fun interactions with the characters, and
Fair. I
Just
might
the-
give this one a read. I like cute stuff like this.
yeah, there's no crazy action or nothing, but it's your typical slice of life romance comedy
Yeah,
type
it-
thing. It's your feel good, little comic. It's
Yeah,
nice.
it really exacerbates my loneliness. I love this shit. Fucking
Maybe
love
that's
it.
why I liked it so much then.
When did you read this?
I feel like it was a long time before. I don't think I was with anybody at the time.
Okay, because I was gonna say that's a real wild thing to say. It's you're fucking engaged to be married.
Well, no, that was way.
No, I get
before.
it now.
Yeah, no, I don't think I was with anybody at the time.
Okay.
I may have had my first girlfriend before this, but I'm pretty sure I wasn't with
Oh,
anybody.
so this was high school long ago, if not middle school.
I didn't date in high school.
Oh, so
So
this
what-
could have been, yeah.
So this could have been like my first to second year of college, maybe at this
Okay.
point. It's 2018. I can't imagine that was.
Oh, yeah, no, fair enough.
Yeah.
But
But this was another one I was kind of reading as they dropped, more or less.
okay, fair
and I
enough.
caught all the way to the end.
Nice,
So, yeah, highly recommend it if you want something nice, comfy, and cute.
just cutesy. I like stuff like that. Sweet. All right, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the stuff you got.
Yeah. So,
let's start with this one because I want to talk. I want to.
so this one is probably, besides Leviathan, my favorite of all of the ones that I've read.
Mm-hmm.
And the synopsis is kind of right there, but I also wrote my own.
And this is for the manga.
And this is for the manga called Her Summon. The synopsis on this site, specifically Tumik, says the story of a delusional otaku and an innocent girl as they save the world from demonic forces.
This bitch ain't no goddamn otaku. What the hell?
He's so hot.
Beyond hot. Holy shit.
So my synopsis or summary is this, and it's a long-winded one, but I think it's actually a fun way to kind of explain it. An outgoing idol fan turned shut-in otaku NEET struggles to reconnect with his family and his own emotional and mental turmoil while, every now and then, being summoned by an innocent mage to another world to defeat kaiju-esque monsters and demons using his newfound unexpected overwhelming power and wit.
Interesting.
Yes. So
Outgoing idol fan turned NEET. Interesting.
yes.
Okay.
So there's a whole beginning of the story, and I forgot about this until I started reading it again. I was like, oh yeah, this is why he becomes what he is.
Yeah.
Like the whole, he was outgoing. He went out and hung out with a whole bunch of people who were fans of this like idol group or whatever. And one day he was caught on an interview talking about how he very specifically liked the youngest idol member of the group.
Ooh.
And was constantly taking pictures and video so he could watch it back. And he thought when he was getting interviewed, it was in a different language. I think it was in another country or something like that, right? Trying to speak the language. He tried to say like he,
adores her
to some degree, but it translated as basically
sexual
I'm a
attraction.
pedophile. And so
Oh,
he got,
no, bud.
he got slammed on social media everywhere and basically got like, what is it?
Ostracized
from the whole entire community.
Outcast.
And outcasted. Canceled. Yeah, he became a shut-in real quick. And his...
Telling me he was Drake.
There you go.
Yeah. I hear you like him young. More or less.
That would turn somebody into a shut-in. No
Yeah,
problem.
so he
or
obviously...
NEET, as we talked about. And a NEET, for those who don't know, is
there's an actual... I looked it up. A non-employed, educated, or trained person.
not in employment, education, or training.
Yes. And otaku, because all he does is play video games on his computer now.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't talk to anybody, socially awkward, doesn't know how to really, process some of his emotions. He has panic attacks, anxiety,
No fucking
et cetera.
Fair.
And one day, he just randomly gets summoned to this other world. He falls through the sky and then lands in front of this little girl here who's like, oh my gosh, I was able to summon this being. Thank you for answering my call type stuff. And he's like, where the fuck am I?
Gotta say, homeboy, not a good look for you, man.
Yeah. And he realizes this. He's like, wait a minute. This is not good. This isn't a good look.
No.
And so he tries to not connect too much with her, of course. And she summons him because there's a monster that she needs defeated. And it's a freaking giant ass bug. Like the first couple, pages it shows you. But it's like a giant ass bug, basically. And it's like a giant version of a fly, but it's literally kaiju sized.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I need you to defeat that thing for me. And he's like, I got it. He takes out his bug spray. Like, there's a bug spray thing. He's like, ah! Yeah, I can't do shit. I'm sorry. And then all of a sudden, a beam of light strikes the bug in half. And he's like, never mind. I did that. That was me. That was me. And
Oh God.
yeah, and shenanigans
ensued.
And she can send him back. She sends him back to the regular world where he now has to cope with all the shit that he's going through.
What the fuck just happened?
But I think it's a really interesting dynamic and story because it's a different take on the whole isekai
Yeah.
type where you get summoned, but she summons you back.
So he's literally a summon.
Yes. And
I guess that's where the term
Okay, I have a question.
her summon comes from.
You were saying something earlier that I half missed.
okay.
Is the pedophilia alleged or legitimate?
It is alleged.
It's alleged.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a issue of lost in translation.
Yes.
Okay.
So he was talking to he's in a different country trying to learn that language, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it was made clear that he meant to say something, but it came off and sounded like he said something else in that other language.
Okay.
and
okay,
it wasn't
okay.
a good look.
You know what's really funny is I've seen that exact thing happen with some of the YouTube channels I'm subscribed to. So some of the YouTube channels I'm subscribed to are like ASMR, like spa services, where like I don't know if this is like a regular thing in Turkey, but it's something I really want to go to Istanbul for, is like their like hair salon experience, and Thai places and Vietnamese places too. Apparently, like the salon experience includes stuff like massages, like regular hair washings and shit. And one of the ones I watched, he had a title. I'm trying to remember the exact wording of the title, but basically he tried to, because like I don't know if they use like Google Translate or they try to think of the English. Sometimes just like you can look at the title and tell it was written by someone that does not speak English like that. And the title said, what did it say? Something massage of this beautiful young girl's body. And everyone in the comments was like, "Bud, you are gonna want to change that." He did change it too. That's the best part.
Good.
It was like, "Bud, that's not saying what you think it's saying."
Hold up.
Just want to separate some of those.
Translation does not have.
I think he said something about beautiful little girl.
Oh.
And it was like full disclosure, it was a full grown woman. Like it was not a young girl.
So you could tell that maybe they didn't mean to say it like
the
that.
point, the point was to use like very flowery and flattering wording, and he used little instead of like young
Instead of like young woman,
right? Yeah.
Beautiful girl.
Beautiful little girl. It was like, hey,
look at this beautiful girl.
Back that the fuck up, Brody. So I've seen this play out in like my actual day-to-day life. It's really fucking funny.
Is it the story about him discovering his actual pedophilia?
Oh, maybe I am in it. I'm not gonna put that soundbite in this world. Never mind.
Is he isekai now?
Were you about to say? I'm not gonna say it either.
Yeah, you want to
say it
say yes.
I don't ever want to be quoted saying.
I'm just never gonna have that soundbite in the world. It's okay.
Yeah, but no, it's an interesting take on it because he gets sent back, and he just gets sent back into that world where he's shutting himself out from everybody.
Right.
Even his family, his mom and dad, his mom's trying to get to him. His dad's like, yeah, he's a bastard. Don't care. Whatever. He'll do whatever. Stay in your room for all I care. Whatever. Right. But he's getting
Dad's so loving and supportive.
Yeah, he's getting isekai to this other world, though, so he's not there sometimes. They don't even know that.
Right.
But he's essentially having to deal with how he interacts with the world around him because getting isekai is helping him. He has to now be that god that he's portraying himself as, which means he has to be social. He has to, be more emotional. He has to, get out there and do stuff and try to be this person he knows he isn't. And then when she's done with him, he's like, okay, go back. And now he's back into his world where he's like, he's trying to shut himself in. So he's learning to be a better person, I think.
He's learning to change who he is.
He's learning to live a double life is what he's doing.
That, yeah. But it does have
that way he can cheat later.
Yes. He's going to cheat on that girlfriend. He's definitely not getting in the real world.
Yeah. But, like, great story. The way they visualize a lot of things is really interesting, like how he thinks through his problems emotionally and mentally.
Yeah.
They put a lot of interesting visuals through that. And also just the art itself is just jaw-dropping. Again, with the spreads that they do for showing how monstrous and massive these scenes are, these environments, and these monsters, and these action scenes, it's kind of nuts. And I'm so sad that I forgot to grab some. But some of my favorite... I screenshot some of these pages and made them my background for a while.
Really?
When I was reading this. They were so cool.
Nice.
And to this day, I don't think there are that many reads that I know about that have as interesting art as this Manhwa. So definitely check this out. I think it's another must read.
Fair enough. That sounds like an interesting one.
Her Summon.
And
again, yeah, some weird stuff at the beginning, but it's not like that throughout. I don't think it gets into any, uncensored stuff. Just the weird stuff with the translation
Oh, okay.
text thing. Like that's really the only thing I can really remember. But
Fair enough.
Nope.
All right.
So-
we got one more from you.
yes, this one I did read all the way through. This one is a little bit fan servicey. I will say that. There's no bare, stuff. They're covered, but of course, just the cover art, you can see that there's
It's
some
not.
stuff going on.
It's definitely going to be fan servicey.
But their synopsis is
For
Such a Cute Spy.
thank you.
Their synopsis on this site is Anna Reed's mission is to seduce the math genius Dong-gu Park and return with him to North Korea.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So
To North Korea.
yes. So my synopsis is North Korea and Russia are in a war.
Okay.
Both have deployed some of their top spies and have given them a top secret mission. Capture a specific boy genius and utilize his smarts to win the war.
Fair.
How do you do that? By going to his high school and trying to seduce him so that he chooses to go with you to your HQ and help you uncover the other side's stuff and, you beat them up.
Do they just give everything a 9.9 rating?
Feels like it.
Yeah.
And he's super in love with a girl at the school, and he's not going to cheat on her, right?
I don't remember.
I really hope not, because then she's gonna die for
She's
sure.
dead. Yeah. That's just for that girl.
She dead.
He's
She
asexual.
That's hardly an issue in this war.
So as you can expect, right, like their two top spies are
she's
killers,
asexual
Yep.
being.
but they're expecting them to try to seduce this boy.
So are all four of these girls spies? And I'm assuming that's a girl,
Four?
or is that a boy?
No, that's the boy.
That's the boy.
Yeah.
That's the boy.
That's
That's
the
the
boy.
boy.
That's the tomboy.
And your
That's-
question
it
about
honestly feels like it.
That's a trap.
Yeah. That's the end. That's the twist. That's the twist, is that it's actually a girl masquerading as a boy. Are these
Right.
all three of these spies?
That would be such a fun twist. Like the whole time, the spies actually think that she might be falling for this boy, but she's like, "But I'm a lesbian, so it could never be." And then it turns out, psych.
we could be together now. Oh my gosh, but I have to bring you in. The dilemma.
Yeah, I'm gonna kidnap you to North Korea, but
We're gonna run away to Antarctica.
fucking Antarctica.
Yup. So yeah, shenanigans assume high school drama plus the whole we're killers. So there are other killers that get sent to kill the boy sometimes.
All right, hold
he's
on. I have to
definitely-
do this.
Yeah.
Shenanigans. What?
I say assume, but it's probably resume or presume.
Ensue.
Ensue.
Shenanigans ensue.
I mean,
I
Yeah.
said the word the first time you said it.
What he said.
Shenanigans ensue.
Ensue. What he said. Yes, yes. English
would
is
It's
not,
not.
my first language.
My first language is stupid.
Gibberish. Yes.
would you get mad though if somebody said shenanigans resume? If the shenanigans were actually resuming?
If the shenanigans were actually if it was
If
appropriate,
shenanigans were happening and then they stopped and then they resumed again. Yeah, shenanigans resume.
Okay.
Yeah.
like
but
what
they
we're
don't
gonna do
assume.
right now.
They ensue and then resume.
There you go. That
Hey.
works.
I assume. So
Is that I assume you kept? It sounded like you kept saying they
The shenanigans
assume.
Yeah, I probably did.
subsume.
we'll roll the tape back
Is that a
and you'll
word?
see exactly what.
Yeah, it is a word.
Huh.
But-
it usually means
If it bothers you that I did that, we can cut this out. That's why I wanted to pause you right here.
No, it's I'm fine with it.
It's like I can't let my boy
it's
go
like
out
a
this
variation
way.
of consume,
You gonna get clowned in the comments.
but it implies that whatever's being absorbed remains whole. So if you're a tree could be subsumed by the forest, or a
Subsumed.
book could be subsumed by a bookshelf, or a person could be subsumed by the city.
Or a steak could be subsumed by,
By
a dog.
me.
Not necessarily because a steak is then destroyed and processed. So consume is the word that you would use there. I actually used subsumed that way for a really long time, and then
Oh.
somebody corrected me.
I was just gonna say because we had a dog that could
It's like that.
absorb an entire steak whole.
And then shit out the steak whole. Then yeah, then
No,
yeah,
he got
the
that.
dog would be the dog would be subsuming the steak.
Corn can be subsumed.
Corn can be subsumed.
It is weird that we just don't process corn for some reason.
Well, we
is
process parts of corn, but like
The
the
shell.
The
yeah.
husk.
Yeah.
the fibrous parts of it, because we really most plant fibers we don't break down. That's why fiber is good for your digestive system.
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Yeah, that's also why like you toot more. You toot more when you eat more protein. You toot more when you eat more plant fiber. There's no escaping the toots.
Is it the protein that makes it stink more, or is there something else about meat?
You know, I haven't looked into the specifics.
I know meat. If you have a meat-heavy diet, your toots and poops stink to fucking high heavens. They this is a weird tangent, but zookeepers say like when it comes to like having to clean up behind animals, you would think people think that like the elephants and the other herbivores, because they poop so much, it would be worse. They're like, no, fucking cleaning up like big cat cages sucks, because since they're only meat eaters, and that the decay and the meat of it and whatever it is about the properties of meat makes shit stink terribly.
I mean, it's rotting meat, basically.
Yeah.
Like chemically processed.
Rotting meat. Yeah. So anyway, the cutest spy.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I say I want to get deep into it, but that's essentially as deep as it goes.
Yeah. So spy
Without
from
getting
North.
spoilery, I assume.
Say what now?
Without getting spoilery.
If I even,
I
don't
say,
even
is there really
truly remember what the ending is. It's another
Okay.
one where I got to kind of reread back. But again, it's another one where I'm like, I remember reading this and I had a good time. And
Okay.
the art
The
is
boy
really
genius manipulates everybody into his harem.
That's
good. Yeah.
smart.
Somewhat without trying, kind of.
Smart
Somewhat.
man.
But-
Is it episodic? Like, is there an overarching story actually
Yes.
going on, or okay?
Yes, there is, and it progresses and everything.
Oh, okay.
The dialogue is interesting, of course, because with Russia they do the whole like adding Z's in the dialogue.
Oh,
to make it
yeah.
so like you're reading it in your head, kind of interestingly too.
Fair.
So I don't know. It's a
Like
fun.
the
It's a
multiple
fun
R's in a windbreaker.
read. Yeah.
Like to show that this dude rolls his R's.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
It's a fun read if you like action. It's got some great action scenes.
I don't know why, but it makes me think of River City Girls. If you know that one.
I think I've heard of it before.
So River City Girls is a game. It was a side-scrolling beat 'em up. That itself was based off. Wrong word.
Beat 'em up.
Yeah, this.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, I don't know. For some reason, it just gives me that kind of vibe. Where'd you go? There it is.
Yeah.
Does it have a female protag?
River City Girls?
No, this one.
I mean, the protagonist technically is the spy right
She's
there,
spy.
front and center. That's like the first main character you meet. So yes, and then the more characters join and also become like co-protagonists and everything. And of course, the boy is another protagonist, but the main character, if you had to choose one, is her. Yeah.
Yeah, with some pink hair girl.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So good read, fun, action-packed, comedy. I don't actually think there's like big romance stuff in here, but it's fun. It's a fun read. That's how I would chalk it up as a fun read.
Nice.
Sick.
Sick.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, from your end of the spectrum to the opposite end of that spectrum, I read both of these manga. I know this one's a manga. Is this one a manga or a manhwa?
That's
both are
manga.
manga.
It's got manga vibes.
Yeah,
sure.
they're both manga. I read two manga that are basically brand new. They both only have 5 chapters apiece
So far?
so far. Yeah, and I was literally able to knock both of them out in a day. Probably like an hour and a half total, and that's mostly because trying to absorb it all was interesting. I will say, in the process of looking for some manga to talk about, one of the sites I was on to read it there's like a Kirby manga.
Oh,
I didn't get a chance to read it, and I really wish I had, but I'm going to go find it again.
I can't say I'm surprised.
I'm not. Yeah, I guess like
But
Kirby
it's
had a whole show too.
Yeah.
Which I really want to watch that show again.
still good to know.
Kirby
though.
right back at you. Yeah, but there is a manga, so I'm gonna try to find it and read it.
Kirby
Maybe-
Right Back At You was a great show.
Correct. Back at you was a fantastic show.
was he Christian in that one too?
No, he was not.
Damn.
He was just a glutton.
Next to Sonic X.
Next to Sonic X. Honestly, Foxbox / 4Kids / that whole shebang was a fun time.
Fire.
But all right. So the first one I ended up reading Genesis of the Battle God. In an era where mythology and reality have fused together, the powers of gods and heroes from ancient myths like those of Greece, Rome, Judea, and Egypt have descended upon the modern world of the 21st century. Ken Yanagimoto, an awakened one with physical abilities and senses far superior to those of ordinary people, has returned after 5 years of working as a mercenary overseas. Wow, these synopsises, I forgot how tense some of these could be. Upon his return, he discovers that his parents have been killed and his sister has gone missing at the hands of the powerful organization 7 Star Society, which controls the political, financial, and media worlds. Enraged by the death of his parents and the disappearance of his sister, Ken vows revenge against the 7 Star Society and confronts various secret forces and injustices around the globe. Amid the grim reality of the dawn of a new era of human evolution, the story of one man who engages in mythical battles against the world begins. So yeah, that second paragraph basically covers the first 5 chapters. That is your entire setup to this whole thing. The first chapter technically is showing you a situation that's happening. I think before it was.
Is it like a chapter 0 or like a...
It was chapter 1, but it kind of sets it up like a chapter 0. It plays out like a chapter 0 because it's weird because you don't know exactly when it's taking place. But because there's weird scenes on how all that goes down. Just from the little bit I was able to read to catch up with chapter 5, you do get to see some of the fights that they're talking about with like the crazy magic abilities and physical like capabilities and stuff like that. It is for a story that starts out with a person's family getting slaughtered because the daughter runs away with what they just call the recipe for you think I remember these words and I just read it today, but she runs away with something incredibly important, and they don't tell you exactly what it is. They give you the name of it. And my best guess is it's actually what allows people to awaken their powers. She runs away with it. Both the parents get killed. She goes missing. And then you kind of jump into like the second half of chapter 1 that introduces you with this guy finding out his family's dead and his sister is missing. And at that point you get him riding on a bus. So he finds out that his parents are dead. He goes into a depression spiral. He like drinks himself into a bit of a stupor, is like not taking care of himself at all. You jump to this scene on a bus where he's riding a bus, and a news reporter gets on the bus, sits next to him, and at some point that bus goes careening off a cliff. You never find out what causes the accident. At least you don't know yet. But the bus is almost going off the cliff. This bus is full of like 30 some odd people. First thing that happens is he takes her and just throws her off the bus, gets her to safety immediately. Soon as she goes, an explosion happens and the bus falls off the cliff into the sea. This dude manages to save not everyone, but everyone, I guess. Like, if that makes any sense.
Does he just chuck him out of the bus?
He basically just chucks him out of the bus. They don't really spend a lot of time explaining how he manages to get these people to safety, but he gets them to safety.
Superness?
He pulls people out of the bus. They don't tell you that everyone survived, but they don't tell you that anyone died either. And the last thing that happens is the bus starts to sink. Lady's going crazy because her son was still on the bus. He dives in, saves the kid. Everything up to this point was just him being like a hero. When he saves the kid, it's the first time you get a display of actual power. And so you get like God, electricity, light shit going on. So not a lot to go off of, but you do also get another scene where he saves a woman from being assaulted. And in that process, he fights like a gang of thugs. And you find out that he is ridiculous. Like, he is anime strong. Like, this is not just like peak human anymore. This is demigod level. Like, he's
not like us.
He's not like us.
Not like that.
But not like that.
Not like that.
He's not like us, but in the best way.
We not like him.
We're not like him.
We not like him. Yeah.
No, that implies that we're
Not like that.
Not like that either. We're not like him in the better way.
He built different.
He built different. Thank you.
Yeah.
He is built ridiculously different. And you just kind of end with the usual display of here's your MC, here's what he can do, and now we're about to start introducing you to the other people in the world that can do this as well.
They give you an idea of like how he navigates these kind of conflicts. Like he's the kind of guy like is going to just walk up to this heaven, at least has a bust down their door. Is he going to like create like a strategic alliance? He's going to lay low. Like how does he attack?
He walks into a situation with all the cockiness of Spider-Man, and that's pretty much what you get here.
Okay.
I mean, I'm seeing some parallels.
Right. Like he is Spider-Man that is less quip, more cocky. That's pretty much what he is. And yeah, that's all you really find out about him. It's definitely an action-based one. If based off the art and what I was saying, you are gonna get some like good action scenes.
Man, so people could be real mad about Judea.
They could be, but it'd be a weird thing to be mad about.
It's definitely interesting, though. I haven't seen that used as like a, pull point, cultural pull point in much of, I say this, but maybe it's just more subtle rather than kind of like a direct.
Judeo-Christianity gets pulled in that manga all the time.
Right. Oh, yeah, I guess it's like in the synopsis here where it's saying we are pulling from these cultures to make this story. Like it's typically not.
Yeah, well, it's just in Western culture, it's usually taboo to treat.
Referring to Judeo-Christianity as a myth is people get over it.
Gets the evangelicals real riled up.
I highly doubt
it makes them real mad at college.
I doubt they're the ones watching our content, but if you are, let us know how mad you are.
Scale from 1 to 10 and
put it in the comments, man.
Put it in the comments how hard you need to cope and go touch grass, bitch. No. Why am I?
was so aggressive.
I was so aggressive about it.
If you think Rueben needs to turn down his aggression, give us 5 stars on Spotify. Like, comment, and subscribe.
I became an
and
atheist.
we'll invite you on the podcast.
Yeah, I became an atheist, and now that's your problem. Oh shit! Sorry.
I kind of like the implication that if you go outside and touch grass, you'll instantly become an atheist.
I mean a little.
You need to be saved. Here's some
So
grass.
is it implied that he has like Zeus powers? 'Cause that's the vibe I'm getting.
You never get a display of anything like him calling down lightning or anything. The way his powers manifest when he's like really ramping up the powers is manifests as this like yellow light, kind of electric like looking energy, but they don't necessarily call it lightning powers.
You say yellow? Is this color?
Yes, actually.
Oh,
it is in full color.
Oh damn.
At least the first 5 chapters were.
Okay.
But yeah, so they don't. There's no strict. It's actually kind of interesting to see this them mentioning these particular like gods and heroes because there hasn't been that display yet. So there is no like I could not point to a particular like mythological being and say this is where he gets his power set from. The closest I could tell you is Hercules. He's just like all we've seen of him so far is that he's ridiculously strong and endurable.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of
durable.
like
That's the word.
Durable.
Durable.
Kind of makes me think of this game that I play a lot
Indubitably.
called Dislight, where like all the characters are technically, not reincarnated, but like incarnations
of the gods
gods that they represent or whatever. Like they have their own names and they were people before these like miracles came down and gave them powers.
I didn't know that aspect of Dislight.
Yeah,
I didn't know they started off as I thought they were just the gods.
Yeah, no, most of them were just regular people or animals, and then all of a sudden these miracles came down and just like fucked up the world, but also gave certain individuals powers of certain gods.
Okay,
yeah, it's an interesting story. But anyway,
those kinds of stories can often be interesting, but I typically find the mythology lens to be
largely unnecessary.
Well, unnecessary but limiting.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because you're limiting yourself to being able to pull from some sort of source material. Now, when we look at all of the mythology of all of human history, if you're gonna do like deep dives into like like ancient cultures from around the world and like different things, you can come up with some really cool stuff, like having fucking what is it, Tenochtitlan show up.
Oh god.
Or like the
I just want to give you props for being able to pull out that fucking name and say it so confidently because I could I still struggle saying that name.
Thank you. Or I'm struggling there to think of like smaller figures, more insular religions.
Oh, okay.
I'm struggling to pull any specific examples right now, but I am thinking of like different figures because there are figures that symbolize death and like rebirth, and there are different saints. As this is
Inuit gods. Wow.
and
Like Aztec, Mayan, smaller civilizations, a lot of African like pantheons and stuff that have gotten lost to
yeah.
the world.
One, bring those to like sort of like, well, I'm not going to address the cultural appropriation because I don't really know how to, but the
Safe.
the like bringing those out can result in really interesting stories. But if you are just like limiting yourself to Roman mythology,
Yeah.
and maybe we'll throw some Egyptian there, you have such a limited like set of things to draw from
Yeah.
that I think it really limits your storytelling. But you can still manage to tell really interesting stories with those things.
Yeah.
It's just more. I feel like it's an artificial challenge. Is what
I would say what you're referring to, a community that's been doing a really good job of pulling from. Excuse me, God, now the hiccups are coming. That's been doing a really good job of pulling from those lesser known sources. The Fakemon community, the people that can do like their own like, you could also call it like fan made Pokemon stuff.
Oh yeah.
Fakemon is the moniker for it that got pulled because they're literally. It started as people whenever there was a new Pokemon game announced. That's when obviously the fake news and stuff would come on, and they got given the moniker of Fakemon. And then now the community of fan-made Pokemon just calls their stuff Fakemon. It works pretty well. But they do a really good job of pulling references from a lot of those lesser known religions and mythologies and like cultures and stuff. That is a community that does it really well. I'm curious if there's like editorial politics that make it so that your usual suspect mythologies are the ones that get pulled from. And that's why, but I also am not, I don't know how I want to say this. I would find it weird if that's the reason. I don't know. I can't think exactly how I want to say it. Like, I wonder if that's what's going on, but it would be weird if that is what's going on.
Yeah.
But you never know.
Cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to say about this one?
For Genesis the Battle God? Nope. That is it. It is, like I said, both of these are pretty new. They're only 5 episodes.
Check them out. It's only 5 chapters.
They're only 5 chapters. Go on and catch them up. I was able to read them in all of like 45 minutes.
Looks like it's got a lot of people following it already. I think
45. Users tracking is 45.
Oh, I saw 768, and I thought that was like 1,768.
That's the average
Damn.
score that users have given us.
7.68,
Okay.
which I would say, just off my limited reading of it, that's a fair score. There's just not much going on with it right now.
I find that at least on Kenme, I find that I don't trust the scores very much.
Fair.
Mostly because the people that are reviewing these are also people that are tracking them, and so they're typically more biased towards favoring. I haven't seen a score below 7, even on things that I think are genuinely very bad.
Fair enough. Okay.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
So Genesis the Battle God. Hop in on it. If you like action, it seems like that's the direction this is going to be going in heavily.
It seems to me like it's going to be like the way the Japanese do their gangster brawl crawls, plus people have powers of the gods, is the vibes that I'm getting so far.
I think that's a good way to call it. Is you're gonna get to the point that literally you had a mid-level boss step in and go, don't get cocky because you just fought underlings. Like, that is what that first fight scene showed you. Like, that is a really, man, you're so good at this.
Yay.
You're so good at this manga shit. Yeah, Genesis the Battle God. Hop in on it. I don't feel strongly one way or the other yet, but I feel positive enough about it. And my other one, also a short one, also 5 chapters, and it's almost like I didn't do this assignment until the day of. The Cursed Strongest Player Rules the World. This one is a little more typical in its setup. Go and read it. In the popular VR net game Deep Space Frontier, set in a world where humans, angels, demons, and beastmen exist together, the world is engulfed in chaos due to the threat of the powerful demon king Sada. Among the tens of millions of players, heavy user Zen Ichinose, I repronounce it, or Ikinose, is the only one to successfully defeat him. However, his victory is short-lived as he is engulfed by light emanating from his monitor and drawn into the game world. Furthermore, his appearance is that of the Demon King Sada himself, whom he had just defeated. So, Isekai. Literally, it starts you off with, and they don't even like they're not even coy about it. You start off as a person playing. It's where they call it a VR net game because he's playing it just keyboard and mouse.
He is?
He's not wearing a headset or anything. He's just sitting in front of his computer playing
false
MMO.
advertisement.
That really is. Well, because like super immersive VR games are a huge trend in these kinds of stories.
Right.
But yeah, anyways, I'll let
Even,
you
like,
continue talking.
Back in the day, like, wasn't .hack VR?
Yeah, you have Heck VR. I don't think I've seen that one, but you have like Sword Art Online.
Sword Art Online.
And then you also have those that are stories where you get stuck in this immersive game.
Yeah.
Like
If you die in the game, you die in real life.
Yeah. There are versions where you get sucked into the game world while there are still players. So like your player becomes an NPC, or your MC becomes an NPC. There are stories where it centers around a NPC that gains self-awareness and is now navigating this world with self-awareness. There are stories that center around somebody who is literally just playing this game as they're living.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So this one is the second one you listed. So this one is a person gets sucked into the game world and becomes technically an NPC, but now he has like the brain. So anyway, the first thing you see is literally him as his player character goes up to fight the in-game boss, which is Demon King Sada. He fights the in-game boss by using a holy artifact that he's corrupted with curse energy somehow, and he calls down the holy, like the god of this world. They call him the Angel King. Calls down Angel King Kate and Angel King Kate is enraged because their holy artifact has been corrupted. He uses that to his advantage. The player uses that to his advantage to get Angel King Kate to attack, and at the last second, they don't make it very clear what he did, other than he did a thing. Because you just see he just goes, and if I time this well, and then you see the Demon King rushing in to kill him, Angel King Cake rushing in to attack him, and then you just see a action panel that isn't very clear as to what's going on.
Oh, those are the best.
And then all of a sudden the Demon King is defeated and he's back in his real world. Player screen is you won. You have the new title of strongest player and all that. Dude's an otaku because of course there are always otakus. And at that point he goes, man, that boss fight wasn't even all that much. And the game hears him. And the game goes, oh, wasn't that much, huh?
Want to bet?
And at that point he gets sucked in. Wakes up as the Demon King. He's now the Demon King. He has been Metroided the fuck out. He's the Demon King with a level of. So when he fought the Demon King as a player, the Demon King's level was 999. He's now the Demon King with a level of 999.
Wait, so like 10 times?
10 times, but it's all sealed. So even though his level is just shy of 10,000, he may as well be like level 10. And they basically set you up. So it's weird because the intro of it doesn't convey the comedy that this manga actually gets into. Once the player gets sucked in and he knows that like he's in the video game, he is the Demon King Sada, it just switches on comedy. Like it's just all of a sudden a comedic thing. One of the first things you meet is one of the old Demon King's minion, his mount. So this white tiger. Yep. That's one of the first characters he meets when he gets sucked in. The tiger's like, you stole my master's body. What the fuck? And attacks him. That's where you find out that the reason he's called the cursed strongest player is that because even though he has like all the knowledge of being a player, all the powers of the Demon King, he's currently cursed so that almost every ability he can use doesn't work. Like the game will go, you have unlocked this ability he'll use it once to show that he has it, and then it goes, okay, now the curse kicks in, and you basically get, in most cases, it's either like a useless effect or it becomes the opposite effect. So one of the first one he gets is this dodging ability that lets him like basically increase his speed like tenfold or something to get out of the way.
Yep.
It lets him use it once, and then the curse kicks in, and what ends up happening is that it just turns it into petrification. So he's just able to turn his skin into stone, which actually is not that bad of an ability. He actually uses it pretty defensively.
But if you're expecting to go zoom and instead you go
stop, it's like, oh, that's not useful. Another one he gets later on is the Demon King's Walk or something like that. Basically, it's an intimidation skill. So just by stomping his foot, he can intimidate everything around him. Curse kicks in, and it becomes, instead of a intimidation, it becomes a taunt. And so he does it, and it enrages everything around him into wanting to fight. And it does that. So it's a video game isekai. Like, somebody has gotten sucked in. He has all the knowledge of how things are supposed to be. He has played this game. He is one of the top ranked players in the game, and he tries to use that knowledge to his benefit, only to find out that the point he's at when he got sucked into where he's at now as a Demon King is 100 years past where he defeated the Demon King. So 100 years has passed between those 2 points, even though for him, he got sucked in instantly. And so now things are kind of a little wonky. But everything so far has been expect video game logic, expect interesting action, but it's mostly comedy and comedic faces. And if y'all know who Randall Weiss is, the comic artist who does, he's the dude with the green shirt and the cat.
Yes.
You would know, you know Randall Weiss. I know for a fact you do.
Yeah.
I feel like both of you.
He has some great comics and panels and stuff that he does.
I'll be honest, as I was looking at manga, I was debating on really, is that how you spell Randall Weiss? Randall Weiss, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
I was debating on like using dipping into webtoons or some shit.
Most webtoons are translated. Manhwa.
Where's the actual fucking episodes? I don't want.
I follow him on Facebook and
So do
Twitter
I.
as well. So that's where I see most of his stuff.
Actually, I probably have it bookmarked here.
Oh, are you talking about the way he does his expressions?
Yeah.
Yes. So when he does those like, honestly, that's not a bad example. When he does like the funny expressions where they get like very serious out of nowhere.
I saw the one with his cat.
I would say the one with his cat.
This is a perfect example. When he does these expressions, you get a lot of that in this manga. Where like the first time he found out that like he doesn't have the strength because like all of his strength is sealed away when he goes to attack the tiger, as a matter of fact, one of the first things you get is that face of like the oh shit face. Oh, this isn't good. But he's making it happen. So it's this one is, there's gonna be action, there's gonna be video game logic, but it is very, I wouldn't call it lighthearted, but it's not taking itself seriously at all.
Okay, does it play loose with the rules in favor of the comedy? Would you say?
Define that.
Well, a lot of the times when it comes to like a comedy like this, they'll a well done power set typically like builds on itself in an interesting way, right? The powers eventually like are able to interlock in an interesting way. How it'll also help build on the personality of the character, right? Versus like you put him in a situation, hijinks ensue, something funny happens, and then you kind of move on. They're not mutually exclusive, but oftentimes when you have a comedy, the comedy will come first.
That is what happens here. The comedy comes first. Comedy first, interesting video game logic action second. And so just like the last one, it's only 5 chapters in so far. You get this, its establishment happens faster than the other manga I talked about, but you know enough that it's not going to be this super serious thing. And this, like, I will say, this fucking like cover art, hilariously misleading for how this comic goes.
Yeah.
It is a fun read though. This is one I would call a fun read. And it looks like it's shaping up to be pretty fun. I will say this tiger stops being a tiger very quickly.
Let me guess. It's a hot girl.
Or a kitty.
It's a hot girl. It's a hot girl.
Wow. He makes it so?
No. Someone else makes it so.
Oh.
So the tiger comes from, one of the factions that serve the Demon Lord during his playthrough are the Beastmen. That's so humans, angels, demons, and beastmen. Beastmen are on the demon side, or at least they serve the Demon Lord, Sada. The chief of the Beastmen used to be a man 100 years ago, but after the Demon Lord was defeated and the angels took over, because of course the angels don't get to be good guys in this story. Never
Never good guys.
The angels cursed the Beastman chief to become a young girl, just a hot woman, because like this character is like 100 years old, but
Because
also
of course the angels would.
of course they would. But it's weird because there's an implication that the beast people can just transform between animals and their animal form and their more humanoid form.
Yeah.
But so she cursed the humanoid form to go from like this gigantic jacked man to just hot tiger chick, like who is very much in love or like very devout to the Demon King Sada. She got ousted as a chieftain because when she got cursed, it also sealed a lot of her strength away. And yeah,
You've been bitten, Rueben.
I've been bitten. It was literally like I was reading through the first chapter, and I was like, it goes from her just transforming when she realized. So when he got attacked by the tiger, she was in her tiger form. Attacks him, he hits her with a punch that is imbued with like the actual energies of the Demon King, but I guess not as strong as it should be.
Yep.
She realized that it is the Demon King, even though because at first she was like, no, you just look like the Demon King. Fuck you, get out of here.
Yeah, you got no power.
And instead she's like, oh wait, no, you're actually the Demon King. You've been resurrected. Transforms from the tiger to hot chick, and the first thing you get is her. And of course she's in a bikini because she's a beast person. That's how the beast people dress.
Of course.
And that is how it's always going to be, no matter what show you're talking about, is the beast people are going to be dressed scantily because that's what beast people are dressed like.
And they're going to be curvy as fuck.
And of course, she's curvy, slightly. She's a leaf. Like, she's not muscular, but is implied muscular type deal. And the first shot you really get of her is crouching, facing away from the camera, butt in the face.
And that's exactly when Rueben decided.
And that's
to
when
talk
I was
about
like,
this.
you know what? Maybe it's worth it. Maybe this is worth it.
Isn't it funny how they do that? How they
debate you?
how they put in these fucking explanations? How they spend so long justifying
why there's
why,
a sexy girl in this.
why the
shit.
waifu, and then at a certain point when you're reading the story, you just kind of like you're like, oh, you just glaze over it, you just accept it,
Yeah.
and then when you repeat it back to somebody, you're like, wait,
Yeah. No. This is as stupid as what I'm describing.
is this another full color?
Yeah.
What
So both
the
of them have been in
hell?
full color so far.
Man,
Is it not
manga's
common?
stepping up its game. That's crazy. Well, it's probably produced for web if it's full color.
Yeah, I'm jumping past like the boss fight he does. All of this is just the boss fight.
Watch your audio with that scrolling.
It'll be fine.
He's got it up.
It's fine with images,
Oh, I see what you mean.
just
Yeah.
not Twitter.
Yeah, Twitter. Oh, does it start in chapter 2? Oh, it starts in chapter 2. Twitter, anything that loads like bigger media files seems to be the bigger issue. So Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, it doesn't like those because they're loading images and videos and GIFs and shit. And I think that's what's overloading.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, while Manga Dex has the first chapter for the Curse Strongest Player, it does not have all 5.
Yeah.
You can find all 5 of Genesis of the Battle God on Manga Dex, but the Curse Strongest Player, I had to go to something else called Manga Kakalot. Mangaka Kalat. How would y'all pronounce this word?
Mangaka a lot.
Mangaka
There's two
Mangaka.
Kalat.
That's right. There's an extra K.
There is an extra K.
There's an extra ka.
There's
So
an
it's
extra
kaka.
Mangaka Kalat. Manguka Kaluk.
Kakarot.
Kakarot!
I've read a lot of here. I prefer.
I don't like this. I've tried this. Looking at this thing on my phone. Or no. This one was. It wasn't this one.
I would recommend Comic K. Yep, there it is.
Comic. Did you call it Comic K?
Yeah, just so that people actually know.
Oh, I see.
The spelling.
Is this the one I read it on? This might be. I think this is the one I read it on. This one is not great if you're reading on a mobile device and you don't have a ad blocker.
No, this is not what you were reading then.
I can. Either way.
I'll pull it up on my phone right now. Maybe it's different on Android.
It might be different on Android.
Um,
Because I remember this whole having to reveal the comments thing. Because when I pulled it up initially, then I moved it over to my phone. It's not as great of a viewing experience because it is inundated with everything you click on opening up a pop up. There we go.
Interesting, because on iPhone, Google Chrome app,
Yeah,
the reading experience is pretty
that
seamless.
that looks nice. Mine was I had to pull it up and show you later what I saw now because I still got it up in my Chrome thing. Speaking of, are we still recording? Just making sure. Sweet.
Yep.
So this is the tiger when you first meet her. Very scary, very big, very imposing. This is where it starts like the comedy of like, not gonna go through the explanation of everything. Everything you're seeing is him realizing that like he's sealed. So like current power level. Oh, sorry, 99.99, not 10,000. So just shy of 10,000, not 100,000.
I think you did say just shy of 10,000 at some
You
point.
said 10,000.
Did I say 10,000? Then I said
pretty
it
sure.
incorrectly.
I'm pretty sure.
I meant to say 100,000 earlier, but luckily I said it correctly.
Yeah.
But currently sealed, condition cursed, experience 0. Like he's literally like kind of, you know what his power is supposed to be, but he's literally down to level, like he has no experience and has to start like building everything up again. The show of like abilities and then realizing that he has none of the power that the Demon King had. Can't use his skills, getting thrown around. The first skill unlock he gets is that whole Shadow Enhance or Shadow Infusion. Move step will be increased by 30. He uses it the one time, and then the curse kicks in. And that's where it changes it into Rock Guard or Petrification, which is useful, but not the way it's supposed to be. And then finally you see him right here. He hits her with a punch. I forgot this is the panel. She gets touched by the influence of the Demon King that she loves so much.
The sensation.
There is no mistake. It is my lord. Turns into the girl.
Ah.
This happens.
Oh, interesting close-up choice.
And then this is the panel you get. Interestingly,
Nice.
the only time you get this.
In
I
the
mean, it's
in
only
the
five.
other
It's only
chapters.
It's only 5 chapters, but like you never get a fan service like this after this. They don't even like play up that she's in a bikini the whole time. Beyond this, after it's just an afterthought. Like they don't. It's manga.
The comments, the fan service,
Maybe
hitting
like a goddamn truck.
bro.
There's too much meat. I didn't even look at the comments for this shit. Oh yeah, like they hit you with that fan service early and hard, and then they're like, "All right, we got our prerequisite fan service out of the way. Let's go back to just making this stupid funny story."
Is that nipple? Okay.
No,
It looks like Animated Glitch Scans is the one who is currently scanlating it. So if you can read on their website, I would recommend, even though it's probably going to be like a shit ton of ads, that's how they fund the fact that they're paying for the raws and doing the scanning. So I would read it there.
and that might be where I'm reading it then, because we'll see. Oh man, but yeah, nope. That is the curse The cursed strongest player rules the world. It is, once again, another one that's very early on. There's not a lot to go off on other than just kind of knowing that its direction is a little bit more comedic while also keeping some, like, fantasy. Like, it is...
The next chapter is going to endorse Hitler.
I guess you just have to find out next week. But yeah, no, it's another one that, like, is a 6 to 7 rating, 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10 rating is probably a fair score for it until more happens. It's too early to really call it right now. Yeah, that's the 2 that I read.
Yeah.
We got one more from the non-manhwa reader, and this one is going to come from Izzy.
Yes, sir.
Boop-a-doo. Visit
Now,
the site.
explain how you found this piece of media.
I went to all. I said sort by
On Manga
rating
Dex.
lowest.
On Manga Dex or
Manga Dex.
Okay.
And that's the one.
And the one it's Maka, not Baka. With a 2.7 rating.
That's really low.
That's very low. Over 1,000 bookmarks though, and 137 comments.
And it's ongoing.
Oh, this is forum bullshit.
It's the comments.
Just to read this top comment. Interesting so far, and depending on which direction the author decides to take it, it might be quite good. It might be quite good. It's crossed out. It's
strike
edited,
through.
strike through, and says it still remains interesting, but I no longer find it good. This comment was from...
At least the comments started in 2019, which I think is when Manga Dex did its refresh
Okay.
For the latest version of the site. So.
Sexual violence.
Excuse me? Oh. Dojinshi.
I don't know
That-
if I got to that.
That is that
I
is
just
a
exploded
that is
everywhere. That's funny
when
to
it
me.
comes to manga, that is a very common tag because a lot of plot lines will imply,
Oh, yeah. Especially if it's a female protagonist.
will like imply or like there will be a thread of it, but they don't necessarily actually follow through. But it's still good to have there for people who are sensitive to that kind of stuff. Anyways,
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Maka is your typical high school girl living in Austria. Her father gets himself in huge debts and has to flee. He drops off his daughter at the airport and drives away. Okay. He doesn't buy her a ticket or anything. He just kind of puts her at the airport and says, you know what, figure it out, kid. Maka therefore finds she has to travel to Japan and live with her mother. It's interesting this girl already had a Japanese name before moving to Japan.
well, apparently her mother has Japanese, so maybe she.
Oh, that's right. Which she hasn't seen. Travel to Japan and live with her mother, which she hasn't seen for many years, and thus the misadventures of Maka-chan begin.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
How much of this did you read?
I think I got to like chapter. I think I got to like chapter 5 or something before I then
Tapped out?
Yeah, I kind of skimmed it after that.
There's a lot of it.
43 chapters.
Yeah,
5 years ago.
Ongoing.
but basically it's like
It's not just 43 chapters, though. It's 43 chapters in this volume, in volume 3. It's more like...
Usually they continue. Then no, you're right.
Yeah. So 4 chapters in volume 1, 3 chapters in volume 2, and then volume 3 just is an ongoing one.
yeah. But I don't know. It's weird. It's basically the spoiled girl.
Oh boy.
Like her father has spoiled her. He makes a living gambling, and then
Wait, what?
he basically gets in trouble with the mob, and he's like, you gotta go live with your mom because the mob's after me, and she's like stamping her feet, and she doesn't want to go because she's gonna leave her friends, and it's gonna ruin her youth. So he basically takes her to the airport, drops her off, and drives away. He actually does give her a ticket.
I would hope so.
She can pay for her own ticket. You think we have money after that? Now that the mob's coming for me? Nah.
But so then she goes to Japan,
Yeah.
finds her mom, and things start to kind of like go downhill for her. It sort of feels like they set it up to basically be like you dislike the main character because they're spoiled, and then the rest of the story continues to just kind of abuse this character. Like, she gets bullied at school, like her mom disciplines her, and like that's basically what goes on.
Does it just become a
There's a
slice
lot
of life? It kind of feels like
From the point of view of a spoiled brat,
yeah.
basically.
Like the whole I ran away from my home because my dad is in gambling debt doesn't seem like it matters as soon as she's in Japan. Like, does that ever even get brought
that's
up again?
basically just like so when she's living with her father, she basically does whatever she wants and she has tons of money. So then that's going from like her spoiled life to
Right.
Riches to rags.
Yeah, basically.
Oh, okay, one of those type of stories.
Very
But then
elaborate
there's a bunch of weird
justification.
stuff, like the amount of times there are girls in this stamping their feet. Obviously, the author is into foot stamping.
I'm gonna be particularly honest with you. The art style alone lets me know everything I need to know about this.
And like everybody, how do I say this?
I'll say the art quality.
The way that everybody is portrayed, like you get a lot of everybody's thoughts. Basically, you almost can hear everybody's thoughts. And most everybody is like talks like they're superior, but the way that it's written, like you're obviously looking down on them.
Like everyone talks like they're superior. When you say you're looking down, is it supposed to be because you're looking at the perspective of the main character, or that the author believes like is?
It's like they're satirizing like a Chad or an incel or and it's kind of cringe. I'm just reading through some panels. I picked a random
38.
chapter.
Go to the pictures that I posted because there's
Oh,
a
that's
few
right.
things in there. Like there's some random, just the humor is random and the real faces.
Yeah, it definitely looks like they're taking actual pictures and then like putting some kind of filter on top of it to make it
like the random jokes. Like,
Concentrate like the lemon juice.
like it's kind of corny, like. And then she like yeah, I don't know.
She's like dropping it. Is that what's...
No, she's like
pulling
it from the sheath and then letting go, and then she catches it again in the next panel. So it's supposed to be like cool, like
She get good with knife.
yeah.
To survive in Japan.
And then like random Sonic in a panel just because she's running, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, this is just a photo.
Yeah, and the people
Just a photo.
they're just like filtered photos.
That's just a crowd of actual human people. But they're not, it's not a photo. They've clearly been like photoshopped in there, and then there's been a filter applied over the scene.
And then they're one random character
And then
in it.
the art. The character.
But
And
why did they put the old man right behind her like that, though?
And the guy next to the
Because
It's
that
a
was a
crowded-
choice.
It's a crowded train station, Kenton.
I mean,
the guy in the back, only his head comes up to the elevator buttons.
Yeah, the perspective is so wrong. The perspective
He's
is
just a little guy.
just a little guy.
hey, wait.
But
a
his
minute.
shadow
Short
is so
kings are still
long.
kings.
Short kings are still
Oh
kings.
my
We believe in
gosh.
short king supremacy. That's a lie. Not supremacy. I feel
More-
tired.
This
jet
was
lagged.
just more
The way
weird,
they
like-
render butts.
Oh,
Ass.
I noticed it on the Sonic running when she was running, and it was just like there was so much. But
I just had like 3 people run through my head. I saw Andy Samberg, Bear Grylls, and like one other person. This fucking guy.
Is this
generic?
What chapter is this? Like, how far into the series are
Probably
these?
like
Do you know?
3 or 4 chapters in.
Okay, because I was like, based on the panel we were looking at, either they gave up trying to draw other people and just inserted people as the other people, or they started drawing their own versions of other people instead of using these.
The funny thing too is it's mixed because you'll get also just like completely drawn crowds, and then you'll also get like
and that carries on throughout.
As from what I saw.
Interesting.
Okay. What?
Exactly.
Okay, the first thing that actually caught me about this panel is the proportions of the dad.
Yeah.
Right.
Every person has the exact same proportions.
Yeah.
But it's like anime pro tag proportions.
And there's something about the clothes that are like doughy and
Yeah.
I don't know.
Doughy and too form fitting, and everyone has the exact same body type. And then the random Slim Shady. Shadiness intensifies.
It seems like they're just memes sprinkled in here.
Yeah, that's
randomly for little to no reason, or maybe they're inside jokes or something.
This is what the dialogue bubble says. So she is yelling at her dad, which her face doesn't match almost any of the other people in this fucking comic. She's yelling at her dad to call the cops on the men that are trying to extort him. The dad replies, sigh. Regrettably, I can't do that. Police is most likely in their pocket. Maka, you don't understand. These people are shadier than the Slim himself.
Then the Slim himself.
Just random image of Slim Shady.
in the corner.
In the corner. That is why I want you to go and live with your dear mother for a while. Also, the biggest thing about this that I was noticing from the last chapter and reading these panels, the dialogue is the flattest thing I have read in a long time.
Oh yeah.
This dialogue is so one-dimensional.
Well, you see in the top panel there the stars, and she's bringing her foot up. That's the wind up for the stamping.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought that was her like. Oh man, does that happen?
Besides the action of like
of the phone, because it's like following the phone.
Nope.
So you're saying that happens often?
Yeah.
That's her stomping her foot.
She does
effect.
it. Other girls do it.
Stomping the foot. They really want to draw your attention to you stomping that foot.
Well, it'll just be like 5 separate drawings of the feet going this. Like
I no longer find it good.
It's interesting. It's not good, but it's interesting. Oh my dear Jesus. That is.
And for some reason, that cover art does not feel like it matches.
The more
That's not what she
it
looks
does
like
not
at
look
all.
like that at all.
The more I look at the cover art, like if you start to examine the way her arm is positioned and the way the wrinkles are rendered, it's
over rendered.
Exactly.
It is so over rendered.
It's giving whoever wrote this spent so much time on this.
There's so many wrinkles in this girl's shirt. She fucked up her laundry. That's how wrinkled this shirt is right now.
Yeah.
There's so many wrinkles in this girl's shirt. She is older than Joe Biden.
Holy gracious.
Well,
Yeah.
That's something.
Don't read.
what are more of these comments?
I don't know what.
The
Sexual violence. Shoujo? Like,
hello?
that's the tag that worries me. I hope it doesn't occur to either the mom or the daughter.
With what Fluff said, I'm guessing that it could possibly be from the mom threatening to spank her, depending on how like sensitive they get with that tag. I don't know.
That could be the case.
Why are you so insistent on... Fuck you, whoever put the Yuri tag. I had to go through this fucking garbage looking for Yuri scenes for nothing.
Why would you?
Why are you
continue
searching
after
so
the first
hard?
Chapter?
Like,
I had to.
better places to find Yuri, bruh.
This
That-
dot comic.
that Darius.
Do they have a country of origin attached to this one?
Wouldn't be there.
Is it Austria? Because that's where it takes place, maybe?
Sachi Misen. Is there a country of origin? It's only produced in English, so.
Huh.
Well, yeah,
Well,
typically that's where it's
what's the latest
translated
chapter
to.
look
It's
like?
not, I would say it's translated English or not well-spoken English.
Yeah, well, it looks like it's either somebody who's not fluent in English translating Japanese, or it is like a lot of times you'll get people who will just copy paste like Google Translate these to just get it done. Sometimes it's the only way you can read some of the stuff.
Like the grammar makes me think more like something European though.
Yeah, I agree with that. I want to look up something right quick before I say something very ignorant. Okay, I did have the concept wrong. It's just that it's self-published. And boys, it's clearly self-published. This is very self-published. This is clearly not going through an editing process, editorial process.
No view for you.
Yeah, don't check it out.
I wouldn't recommend it.
Don't read it. Don't read it. Don't do it.
Don't do it. Sashi Misen, no biography, only one work in the whole body.
You know, if that's their passion, they can go for it.
They can go for it. You know what? Given
There
that
was
they're
like 40-something chapters.
yeah,
They're still going, yeah.
if they're passionate about it,
You know
that
what
is
I'm
all.
passionate about?
Your 6 manga to read.
Yeah.
Let's
that's what I
go.
was gonna say.
Yep, that was what you were gonna say. It's Maka, not Baka. That's the end. Last we're ever gonna hear of that.
Izzy, thank you for your courage.
Thank you for your contribution to
For your
society.
service.
No problem.
He read it, so you don't have to.
Yep. That was. I actually would like to see more like low tier
Like the
manga.
the Slim Shady thing. Though.
That's just so random.
Shadiness.
The Slim Shady thing was almost less random than the Sonic thing, though.
Look, what I read, like a lot of comedy, especially when it comes to stuff that comes out of like China, will very often seamlessly integrate memes into like they will just draw a meme face on the face of like their.
Just like rage face.
I think there's a series that I really like. Yeah, like it'll be essentially, but typically it's from China, so I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know what it is.
Okay, yeah.
As well as like the exaggerated expressions, they'll do that. They'll do like it with their meme culture, and I actually think when they do it, it's very funny. But when it's done well, and they'll also sometimes do things like. Pull one of my favorite series we'll have like reaction shots in different styles. Like they'll sometimes have like ones that are like Picasso like inspired reaction shots, or have like for like cliffhangers and stuff like that, and I think it really adds to like the emotion of the scene. It accentuates the moment, and it's also just really fun and interesting to look at when it's well done. So that's bad, but I would the Slim Shades, the shadiness intensifies is a very poor example of it.
Well, because it's in the middle of a dialogue of the father explaining why he can't, like why I'm being extorted by thugs who are in bed with the cops, and so we can't just deal with this like normal. I have to send you away.
Shadiness
intensifies. Oh, that. But hey, that's once again, someone's doing it for free and just putting their passion out there for the world to see.
What are you doing? What are you doing with your time?
with
You're
your
taking a
life?
shit right now. I know. I
Listening
can see it.
and
I can
watching
smell it.
us?
You've been eating a lot of protein, huh? Yeah, you think your shit don't stink? I'm here to tell you it does.
You gotta get more fiber, more insoluble fibers.
Yeah.
Sitting there just listening, watching us, not leaving a 5-star review on this or hitting like and subscribe.
Right.
If
Not
you did,
commenting and letting us know more about what you want us to see and talk about, as well as the things we already talk about.
Comment about how much your boobs smell.
like
I shouldn't have
flowers.
said that.
You shouldn't have, but I knew it was coming eventually.
On a scale from 1 to 10.
On a scale,
9.
on a scale of 1 to 10
5.
half stars.
The less we talk about it, the easier it is to cut out. So
That's what I like to believe. So I'm kind of tired. Let's just skip the rest of this for next week. Fluff, you'd be cool talking about
6.
10 miles. No, kidding. All right, so let's get to the.
Do we want to go good to bad or bad to good?
Ooh, let's go bad to good. We're already in bad.
All
We
right.
gotta work.
Yeah,
our
we
way
got
up out of
to
the
end
pit.
on a good note.
We're gonna go to log into the future.
Oh, but this looks so cool.
I really like this one.
That's a something cool
I
for you.
really like this one, but it is it very quickly falls into like into Gary Stu tropes. And
What's that exactly?
pretty like the main character gets really powerful really quickly.
Mary Sue.
Oh,
And so
Me and you were just talking about this on Friday, weren't we? About the division.
let's go over the description first.
Let us do it. Do you want me to read it?
Sure.
All right. At the beginning of the Martial Tao, abnormal beasts invaded the world. Humanity's marshals had to retreat in defeat time and time again. Liu Shang transmigrates to that time, but in his dreams, he enters a world 10,000 years later. Fucking what? He transmigrates to that time, but in his dreams, he enters a world 10,000 years later.
Oftentimes, the characters in these Chinese manhwas will just be a transmigrator, and they don't ever address it.
Okay. So he's already traveling through time and then travels through time again when he goes into the dream world. The foundational body refining method from 10,000 years in the future is several thousand times more effective than the current one. No shit, bruh. Then there's the breathing method, body refining pill formula, and sacred martial law from 10,000 years later. Despite developing martial arts for 10,000 years, humanity was annihilated. Their martial arts civilization reached the apex, and yet there was no one left to inherit it except Liu Shang. He's exactly that last spark of hope. Okay.
I really enjoy reading this because they have a really interesting like power scaling, right? And like martial, because the basic loop, right, is Liu Shang goes 10,000 years in the future, right? He can gain power in 2 ways. He can do good murder on the various like zombies and creatures that are left there, and in particular when he fights humans, he will gain like some aspects of like their memories, right? And this will basically, you can think about it. Okay, I don't know if this concept's going to translate very well if you're not familiar with the martial arts genre, but this is the idea of like a martial will, right? So like as you hone this skill, certain amount of that like skill like forms into like something tangible, right? Into like a will that you carry with you, and so you can inherit a certain amount of that and learn their skills through those memories and that like will like, and so the more powerful, the better the martial arts, and so he can also access through what little technology is still functioning. He can access like records, right, of this like super civilization, and as the records are so extensive that they still have records of him from when he was alive, and so as he grows more powerful, he gets access to better and better records, right? So better commercial techniques, better things, because he has like a better like status in the system.
Okay.
And then because as he gets access to better records and gains more powerful, he then defeats more powerful figures. He gets better martial arts, and then gets better in the future. And so he, just like gets access to better stuff. And a lot of stories like this, the main character gets the one good booklet with the secret martial arts, and they learn it, and they become the most powerful. And that's not really what happens here, right?
Mhm.
Like, there's a scale. Like, he finds this thing, and then this thing's really cool, but then he has to figure out how it interacts with the other things that he has going on. Or he kills what's his butt, but now that he's killed what's his butt, he has to figure out how to integrate this, like, Grandmaster's martial will, so he can, like, use it
Anybody.
and, like, form his, like, original stuff. Now, with that being said, I find this extremely interesting because it's magic system stuff, and it's like this cool, like, magic power system and stuff that he's figuring out, and I think that's really cool. It's real fucking esoteric, right? Unless you're a bit of a nerd about it like me, you're probably not going to love it. And then at a certain point in the latest chapters, he's basically gotten so strong that most powers that in the world where he currently exists can't really touch him, right? And so they haven't introduced something to cap that or to challenge him at this point. And so the story itself is getting kind of aimless.
Okay.
And so we'll see if it continues to hold my attention. But something I've enjoyed, but it's not something that I did think is for everybody, if that makes sense.
Okay, fair enough.
Do you think this might draw a little bit from solo leveling a little bit in certain circumstances?
Not really. I mean,
It does look like that protagonist, though.
Well, I mean, even
Oh,
outside
yeah,
of just looks of the protagonist, it's like the power system and like, okay, you got a guy who's like got this power and he's like the one guy who can do this thing, has this much power, and it's like, okay, what next?
I would say
there might
though,
be some
that
thematic similarities
Yeah.
in that sense.
solo leveling is much more of an actual like progression system. Whereas you actually see him have to go on quests and take jobs and do training every day. This sounds like they kicked off a cycle of you go into one room to learn get an upgrade, to step back to fight the boss that unlocks the next upgrade, and you just keep walking back into the same rooms. It's like, I walk into this room to get a key. I go into this room to turn a knob that unlocks another door back in the other room so that I can walk in and get the other key and then walk back in and turn another knob. And it sounds like that's what's happening.
Yeah, I guess if you're gonna equate it to like a little bit like a dungeon design, you could say
Right.
that. Yeah. But the actual like process takes a lot more inspiration from like martial arts fantasy.
Okay.
And so the idea of like necromancy or undeath, like there are zombies that he fights in the future world, but that's kind of its own thing.
Okay.
And yeah, it'll be interesting. The reason I say that it's not good is because there's a couple instances where he's legitimately challenged, right? I can think of maybe twice, but that hasn't happened for like 20 chapters.
Oh,
Right?
okay.
So
this raises an interesting bit of discussion that me and Izzy actually just had on Friday of what makes someone a Gary Stu / Mary Stu, and what makes it enjoyable. Mary Sue versus a Gary Sue. Because we were watching, obviously we caught up on The Seventh Prince, which is
yeah.
And we were watching Reincarnated as a Slime, too.
and we were watching Reincarnated as a Slime, someone else who like has a ridiculous level of power.
You just started that?
Not just started. I've been kind of jumping back and forth between Fluff and Izzy with it.
I was
going to say that I don't think
Yeah, we were watching the movie
Slime would count as Gary's too, but actually, yeah,
because
I
he
do
has an
think
actual progression though.
he has a progression, but I would still think that he is a Gary Stu.
Yeah.
The reason why the Slime is interesting is because Slime is written with an unreliable narrator. Right.
Oh.
Slime does not know how powerful he is
Oh.
as far as I can tell, like even when he knows that he's strong, he doesn't still comprehend, like, because he's from our world, right? And he's maybe been in this world like 5 years.
Okay.
Right? Like he doesn't really like get how busted he is.
Yeah, Great Sage / Raphael has to tell him, essentially.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, yeah, you could do this. And he's like, what, I can?
What? Right. And so that's they keep Slime interesting because you have the tension, because you don't really, because he's your vision, he's your lens into this world for the most part. Right. So because he doesn't really know where everything's at. You don't really know where everything's at, so they are able to maintain narrative tension and still pay off when everybody's really strong, as well as the like found family fantasy that Slime engages in, which is also a key aspect of why that narrative is satisfying, right? So there are different ways that you can do a Gary Stew and make it good. Right. If you have a Gary Stew that's surrounded by very interesting characters that interact with that character in interesting ways, right? You can have an interesting Gary Stew. And the other reason why I would consider Slime a Gary Stew is because of what I consider to be like a Gary or Mary Stew is there's a granting of power at some point.
That's where I started to kind of get to, of like that's what makes the difference between attributing the trope of Gary Stew to a character versus why some characters don't get attributed as a Gary Stew.
Yeah.
Is that there's just the way that their power is given to them makes the difference.
Like Slime becomes broken the moment that he's named by a true dragon, right? And he then has access to more magic than most beings will ever have access to magic to, and then he continues to build on that, right? Like he faces challenges, he faces situations where like he might not be able to overcome it, or that they challenge him where he's at, right? But that moment, right? It's like a small loan of $1 million, right? You know. But in this case, like he's given an opportunity to gain power that nobody else has access to, but he has to work for it, right?
Okay.
But then it runs into scaling issues, and like there are still like areas in the narrative that they've set up where there could be challenges hidden, right? Like they've introduced the idea of these like S-class monster caves that nobody's been in. But the way that the narrative has set things up so far with how he's been handling things, it kind of looks like he's just going to walk in there and then walk out, right? Like kicking ass. Which I think would be, we need something to like up the ante here. I think that would be very unsatisfying.
That's fair. It keeps you out of that. The narrative tension just can't.
Did they ever do the thing where like his underlings are in dire straits and he can't make it there right away, but he comes in last minute and saves them? Is that a thing?
Not really, because
No.
he doesn't really have any underlings.
Oh.
He's very much a lone wolf. He has his family that he cares about, but like
I feel like that's another thing that helps the Mary Stew type thing is
Well, when
to
you
create
have
tension.
create tension with the when you create tension with the challenges that the people underneath them have to face. But I feel like it's a trope, and it's a trope I don't necessarily care for, because it's just so predictable that after you've seen it so many times, it starts to lose that tension.
Yeah, you're like, he's gonna come in and save them. But they died! Oh, but he's gonna resurrect them.
Yeah.
That's a spoiler. That's a spoiler for logging into the future. Okay.
Oh, that's a spoiler for this?
Maybe.
That's a spoiler
Maybe.
for basically every
For basically a lot.
It's a spoiler for the Bible, okay? I didn't want to say it.
I didn't get to that part.
I never got to that part.
I didn't want to say it.
It's like halfway through,
It's
man.
been like 2,000 years, dude.
Holy balls. All right. What's the next bad one?
I contracted myself.
That was just luck of the draw. Holy shit. All right. I contracted myself. Published 22. This is a pretty new one.
I read this one today, actually.
Nice. So this is a world where awakened people and alienated beasts coexist. Zhang Ping was lucky to become an awakened person, but his ability was rated as useless. Is this just solo leveling? Anyway, he was unwilling to live a mediocre life. So
welcome to 90% of everything you're going to read.
Fair. He was unwilling to live a mediocre life, so he resolutely swallowed the contract gem that ordinary people would So he resolutely swallowed the contract gem that ordinary people avoided like snakes and scorpions, contracted himself, and became his own summoned beast. From then on, the whole world opened up to him. Ever-changing superpowers, endless alienated beasts, and dangerous parallel worlds. Everything is possible. I'm so sad to know this is the second worst one on this list because that sounds kind of awesome.
It's so young. There is hope.
It is an
for this
8.1
one.
Out of 5.
This one is one that actually makes me
Out of
want to
4.
take the concept that they put in this one and start to write my own story. Right?
Okay.
I wanna copycat this one because basically this guy, he has a power, right? His power is that he can summon these crystals, and that if somebody or some creature eats the crystal, they become his contracted familiar, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this power has a catch, and that catch is informed consent. He can't, crush up this thing and sprinkle it into somebody's food, right? They have to know what they're getting into if they're going to swallow one of the crystals. So
You
basically,
can't force them to be your familiar or whatever. Yeah.
No, we respect a story that involves informed consent. I like that.
Yeah, we do. I actually really like that because it addresses a lot of the problems that come from something like,
especially with one of the things being harem.
yeah. And so they already put harem on this.
Yeah.
You don't know that yet. You don't know it yet. You don't. It's probably true, but you don't know it yet.
You don't know that yet.
It has all the themes and the character setup and everything else, but you don't know it yet. The
Artist is thinking long game with that one.
He is. Speaking of artists, this fucking cover art goes hard as shit.
It does go hard. It goes hard,
I love this
right?
cover art
And the
so
panels
much.
are like, how
Are they full
how is
color
the
or are they
art?
black and white?
Oh, yeah.
It says it's a long strip form in full color. So
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And so once he becomes contracted with himself, he gets some abilities that you would kind of expect, right? Like he can command himself to do things. So he gets the power of self-discipline.
I wish I could have that power.
I with ADHD, I tell you, you do not.
the world would be a different place if we had that power.
Yeah.
like, it would be crazy. I practice it daily, but it's but yeah, but as soon as he gets this, it also basically creates a link with himself, so that makes him immune to illusions. Because he has basically at that point it creates this cycle where nothing can penetrate that mental bond, basically, right?
Okay, that's a common-ish trope in a lot of things where if you have a linked familiar, linked partnership.
He has 2 points of view
Yeah.
from himself.
Yeah, and so
To the point that that's straight up why genjutsu doesn't work on anybody with a tailed beast in Naruto. It's because there's 2 points of consciousness that you have to command, and one of them you generally can't. Anyway,
and so he immediately wakes up to the fact that his city has been invaded by creatures, right?
the alienated beasts.
By alienated beasts, by specifically celestial foxes, which are killing people and taking over their livelihood in order to slowly invade the city.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Wait,
it
are you saying
immediately
they're coming in and taking our jobs.
they're coming in, they're taking our jobs, they're
It wasn't-
fucking they're killing you and then fucking your wife.
It wasn't the Mexicans we had to worry about.
So
And it was the foxes.
It was the foxes.
Hide your wad.
But it immediately takes attention and
Taking
goes
all our jobs out.
and just cranks this tension up crazy high, because there are things that are way more powerful than our MC, right? That are killing like crazy, and that he has to contend with, that most people can't recognize or deal with, and so he has to start to figure out how to navigate this scenario. That all of what I said are things that make me real excited about it because it's pretty cool. It's a really interesting idea. And then he continues to eat these crystals, and he starts to gain like different things from them. And then there are the things that make me nervous about it. Like, for instance,
The harem tag.
not the harem tag. Like first of all, let's start. I'll limit it to 3 things. Right. First thing, the way that they introduce this, like, I'll eat my own contract crystal, right? He's sitting on a step and having a conversation with a childhood best friend. And he's like, oh, you know what? I see one of my crystals. I can do that. And I was like, okay. It's not like a moment of desperation. There's nothing to initiate the realization.
Oh.
It's just kind of like having a conversation, and they're like, who would do that? And he's like, you know what? I would.
Me,
and then he
I'll
eats
do
it.
YOLO.
That's the problem. It's too real. We would do the same.
Yes. It is true, and which is why I would initially forgive it, right? Because even if
Sorry. I
Even
wonder what it tastes like.
Hey, Ruben, you want to see me eat this gem?
even if it feels kind of lazy, it's like real. Let's see me eat this.
Why me specifically?
Because you're sitting there next
All
to
right.
me.
Because you're the sluttiest.
Not incorrect.
Sorry, I like interrupted you like 5 times.
You're fine. You're totally fine. That's my job.
I was gonna say, did you just imply? Never mind.
Imply.
No, don't
Imply?
worry about it. No,
Apply?
I tried to say.
You do not need to apologize
I
to
tried to
me
say
for
apologize,
interrupting.
Fucked up so bad.
I'm very
Ensue?
good at that.
Did you assume?
Did you subsume?
Did you subsume? I better not catch you subsuming in there.
Point number 2. All right. This childhood friend goes off and it's like, I'm going to join the defense force. And then we have the revelation about the foxes. And he goes and visits her at the defense force. She's okay. Right. But she's under imminent threat. Like, everybody surrounding her is foxes.
Of course, they
Right. I'm like, damn. Right. They've already infiltrated. That's crazy. 10 chapters later, she was dead in that comic. She was dead.
Oh.
the whole
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, she was dead the whole time. I went back, and they had implied it in one panel with one character who had the same hair as her, but was a fox. But I say the same hair. They didn't have the same hair. They had a similar hair clip and a similar hairstyle. It was so poorly portrayed, and then they expected you to like get it, right? Like, I get not holding your audience's hand, but I needed you to drive it home a little harder because it was a key plot point for motivating her character. Okay, I needed you to let them bit more.
I need you to breathe.
I can't breathe up so that. And then comes how his powers start to grow. Right. Which is however the fuck the author feels like it at the time. Like, he continues to eat these crystals, and so as the way they make it work is as the narrative calls for it, whenever he needs to, his thing will upgrade, and then he'll get some ability.
Oh, fantastic!
Does he need to go around at night? Now he has super spy powers. Is there an explosion at the fort he's working at? Now he can absorb fire. Does he need to be able to hear things to spying stuff? Okay, now he has hearing abilities because he touched a orb. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't build. It's not attached to his like contract. It's not tied into any of the other ways that we see power scaling work in the world. It is such a sad subversion of what is such an interesting idea. It makes me so sad. I'm gonna continue reading it, but it's really losing me quite quickly.
That's unfortunate.
Hmm.
It sucks more to have such a cool concept and just watching them fumble it in real time.
Yeah.
Ah, man.
That's why I want, because, like, I bet you we could punch this idea up with, like, 5 seconds.
Probably.
Right? Like,
I kind of want to do that one day. Take one of these. We might do that.
writer's room.
Maybe sort of like just read up on it. I want to get a chance to read up on this, catch up to where you're at. And then we just like next episode or some episode in the future, we just sit and go like, how would we fix this? Honestly, that actually is kind of a good, I kind of want to do that now. All of us read the same manhwa or like something that's considered like a pretty bad one.
Yeah.
Take it, all of us read it and go, how would we have fixed this? Like, I feel like that'd be a fun concept to do. But like, I want to catch up on this and just see for myself like how this works. Because once again, that concept is such a cool concept. Like, I swallowed my own contract orb and now I'm my own summon.
Yeah, he said, fuck it, I'll do it myself.
Right? But that is disappointing to hear.
Yeah, like what
It does have an 8.1 on this fucking website, though.
I've given it a 7 so far. That's where it sits for me. Where I gave it a 7 because of potential.
Okay.
If I were to get like if the last episode I read was the last episode I ever read, I would probably put it at a 5.
Fair. It is also pretty new and it's ongoing.
Yeah.
Like, it literally just came out like a month ago.
Yeah.
The oldest episode is from 21 days ago, at least from Night Scans. I saw another translator that was just said a month ago. So
Yeah.
it's probably been about a month and a half-ish. So, all right, we'll see. Are you going to continue reading it?
I'm going to continue reading it. It's on my list.
Okay.
As it comes out, I will. If things change, I will give you updates.
Heckin' yeah.
Cool.
Oh, that's why. Didn't mean to have that stuff still open. All right.
So that's all I have for like the really bad ones.
Okay. Sweet.
So we're gonna move on to something that is very new, but so far has been very solid.
Okay.
This is Eternally Regressing Night.
Once again, luck of the draw. 9.7 out of 5 stars. Why?
9.7 out of 5 stars.
Why are we doing this? Anywho, Eternally Regressing Night by the studio that brought you the greatest. The greatest real estate developer. That's what I gotta read. I keep forgetting I want to read that. I awoke as a god after auto battling for 1 million years.
I read that first episode. It's interesting.
Okay. Not good, but it's interesting. I'm kidding. You're a genius, Harry. Bad joke. Cut that out, Ruben. You're a genius. You're a genius. Those words to be heard. Sorry. All right.
Do you want me to read
Do you want to take it one more time?
I just can't see this shit. Hold on.
He's getting old.
I'm getting old. I'm too late for that.
Look with your special eyes.
My brand. You're a genius. Those words he heard as a child were poison. Ingrid dreamed of becoming a knight, but he soon realized it was futile. You want to live by the sword with that level of skill? Some laughed at him. Just give up. Some advised him against it. Despite that, his dream remained steadfast. He slept less, ran more, and trained harder. One day he died, having been stabbed in the neck. Holy shit. Ingrid opened his eyes again to today's morning. That's not a synopsis.
It's just a sentence of, one day he died.
He found himself being groundhogged. Basically.
Yes. Okay.
So he finds out that via whether it's like because we're not really sure why, he's kind of under assumption that it's because of like a magical artifact that he has that was, just a passing trinket given by a tribe, blah, 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 blah. But that's allowing him this ability to go back into to the day before, right? And the reason there are 2 reasons that I think that this is so good so far. One, the this is less a story about somebody who has the plucky ability to, you know, it's less triple S rank suicide night and more like Rocky Balboa.
Oh, okay.
Right. It's an emphasis on the mental struggle and the effort that he has to put in order to overcome these situations.
Okay.
Right. Like he literally has a confrontation with death when he dies and resurrects. Eventually they kind of start to gloss over it, but they early on they emphasize it very heavily how he is prompted to give up every time he fails. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Death itself is telling him that he'll never be able to overcome all of the walls in front of him. Right. And it's about him like persevering through this, figuring out what he needs to do in order to solve those situations, gaining the skills, and then overcoming this barrier, and then meeting the next one. All right. I think it's 12 episodes in.
Okay.
And I am so fucking hooked.
Oh,
It's so good. One of the best ones I think I've been reading this whole year. So right now I think it sits at a 9 to 8 for me. I'm very excited to see where it continues to go from here. And yeah, would highly recommend it.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
All right.
I realized I forgot to give the second reason why it's so good, and I'm not going to.
That's fair. Guess y'all just have to find out for yourselves. Go read it.
Mm-hmm.
All of this is coming from Ashura the comic. Ashura comic. Money goes to scanlators and all that fun jazz.
Mm-hmm.
All right, sweet. Good place to find it. Ashura Comics. What's our next one?
Take your pick. We're gonna either go to Bloodhounds Regression or Indomitable Marshall.
All right. Well, let Chrome decide. Indomitable Marshall King.
Let's go Bloodhounds Regression.
All right.
Nice.
Okie dokie. Bloodhounds Regression Instinct.
Yes.
Let me just, from my special eyes here.
This one I would say falls into the category of it's starting to ripen. You got about 35, 36 chapters out.
Oh boy. All right. Jan, the protagonist, was brainwashed by the Emperor and lived as his puppet. After finding out he was being played by the Emperor, he planned to seek revenge, but collapsed due to the Emperor's might. He thought he had died, but when he woke up, he realized he had regressed to the time when he was a recruit. Whether to seek revenge on the Emperor or to find his family, the choice lay in his hands.
Yeah, I pulled this one out for two reasons.
Mm-hmm.
One is the art style. Art style in this one, I really like it. It's reminiscent. It's like a grungier. What's that one with a fucking taco dog from?
Taco dog.
You know what? Forget I said it.
Okay, fair.
We can kind of see it here, but like it takes a lot of inspiration from like the anime's forms, but the line work's really rough.
Yeah.
The shapes are really sharp, and then they have a very interesting way of like putting together like human forms and then adding like emphasis on expression, and then that I find really interesting, and then as well as how they portray action, I think is extremely compelling. Ignore the 3D sword.
This is really high quality. Yeah. This is really like high quality sketch art.
Yeah.
Like this looks like it was taken out of someone's doodle book.
Mm-hmm.
But someone who's really fucking good at what they do.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just scrolling through just to get a sense of like.
No,
what
you're
we're
fine.
seeing.
We should probably keep talking while you're looking.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I love how they do the action, and then the main character has a revelation very early because the stereotypical thing in this situation would be like, oh, I have a second chance. I'm gonna become the most powerful in the world and kill the Emperor. But he has it's a revelation very quickly, and he's like, "That's fucking dumb. Why would I spend the rest of my life living for the Emperor? I'm going to actually try to seek out some semblance of happiness in his life."
Mm-hmm.
And you see him like fight against like the narrative trope, what the narrative trope would be in the situation, right? And his goals very quickly shift. Now, in order to keep an interesting narrative, right, where you have your badass OP, things like happen that force him back into this path of like, you know, forging his own strength. But that subversion was one of the things that hooked me very quickly. And I think that they intermingle tropes and they subvert tropes in very interesting ways. I'm not going to avoid like talking about the specifics because I don't want to spoil too much. But overall, I think it's a very solid story. I would put it about an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10 to 9 out of 10, depending on how you're feeling about like action and stuff like that. It's a very interesting read. It's like another one I look forward to every time it's published. Would highly recommend.
Oh yeah. All right, that brings us back to the Indomitable Marshall King.
Indomitable Marshall King. I'll read the thing.
By the studio that brought you Solo Leveling. That's already a good start. A world where humans sell and buy otherworldly species as slaves. The great mage Reifenhard is treated like the Demon King for helping the otherworldly species. A party of heroes arrive to bring down the Demon King. Reifenhard succeeds in greatly injuring the heroes, but he faces death at the hands of the Marshall King, Teslan, time and space regression spell. However, he miraculously manages to cast this last resort spell and regresses to the past. But I became the Marshall King. Teslan, one of the heroes who tried to kill me and the strongest on the continent. Oh, this is not written in English.
No.
This is translated to English like a motherfucker. Now begins Reifenhard's adventures as both a great mage and the physically strong man that changed the world. Do you have a better synopsis you can give off the top of your head right quick?
This is a story about liberation of the oppressed.
Sweet.
Okay.
It's not, you know, a perfect tale about it, but it is thematically that is what is at its core, and that's what is so powerful so far about the narrative, right?
Mm-hmm.
As well as the fact that you have like the most powerful mage then put into the most powerful human, like physical body on the face of whatever this existence is, results in a pretty fucking busted character.
Yeah.
Brody's ripped.
Brody is ripped.
But his problem, right, isn't one that you can solely solve through violence, right? Because he wants to fundamentally reform society.
Yeah.
So that those that are oppressed are no longer oppressed. And no matter how powerful he is, he's never going to be powerful enough to make that happen, right? So it's about him figuring out like how to use both that power as well as other tools in order to make that happen. Which is...
It's the fun of having the power to subjugate everyone beneath you and knowing that is the worst way to solve your problem.
Yeah. I already tried that.
Yeah, we've seen how that goes. I want to try this a better way.
Mm-hmm. And
see, that makes having like stupid overpowered MCs interesting.
Yeah.
Of like, for all the power that you have, that power cannot solve your problem as it reasons right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that is how you make extremely powerful characters very interesting.
Yeah. If you're worried about there being no power progression, it also he doesn't just like get his magic back, right? That is an ongoing challenge that he's continuously trying to solve and doing very slowly, because Teslan, compared to his original body, is pretty dumb and not as good at magic, but is very good at the punching stuff.
Noted.
Yeah. You can tell a little bit there.
Yeah. The art is great. It's like anything that comes out of that studio, it's really very,
very good.
Yeah.
And there's the romance at the center of it is also pretty wholesome. So
Nice.
yeah, it is an interesting subversion of the slave trope.
Slave trope.
So very frequently in a narrative like this, the MC will encounter somebody or will liberate somebody who is all too happy to then serve as their slave, basically, right? Shield Hero is very guilty of this.
Yeah. I was gonna say, like, service the master. You saved me, so I have to be loyal to you.
I'm now indebted
type
to
thing.
you, and I owe you my life.
Yeah.
And so I am now in the exact service that I was just being sold into.
Yeah. Shield Hero, I would say, makes it like a complex of the MC that he's working through as much as the Reftalia is working through. And later in the narrative, they do definitely bump Reftalia out of that. But because they frame it as an issue of trust, right? But it's also an indulgement in sort of like a fantasy that these things often do. And often these things do so without engaging in like or examining that at all. And that is not the case, right? In this situation, the love interest, right, is one of the oppressed or enslaved peoples, right? But he doesn't like scoop in and expect that because he saved them, there's something's gonna happen. He's just like, I'm saved you, and you're gonna be my equal, and that's how he handles the situation.
I was gonna say, so he's Luffy, but Luffy's a little different in the sense that he'll save you, and then just fuck off.
Yeah.
Give him food, and then he'll leave with his crew, and leave you to do your thing.
You know, I've saved you specifically because in my past life we were in love, but I'm not here to put any pressure on you or anything.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting.
That is an interesting one, yeah.
Interesting pickup line.
He doesn't explain that, all right. But yeah, so far I think that it's been pretty well done. It has a lot of like the problem of like the white savior tropes a little bit.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know if it's going to subvert those or not. Also, I don't know if the place where this is written is contending with those tropes the same way that we are. So,
Well, probably not.
yeah.
Given this is Korean. So, yeah, it is. It is what it is. I appreciate that they're using otherworldly species rather than real world races, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people have mixed feelings about the use of otherworldly species as a direct corollary to real world oppressed peoples.
Well, unfortunately, slavery is slavery. Like, did the impetus for the oppression need to be slavery? I'm not asking that for myself. I'm putting that out there as like a possible hypothetical on what kind of people would feel about this. But I obviously, without reading the story, couldn't tell you. But yeah, I will say, and I wouldn't be able to explain this feeling, but looking at this cover art really makes me want to play some MMO. Like, I just want to play a MMO. And I like some online game or something right now.
Yeah. I will say this one comes without really like a system. It's very much just fantasy.
Right.
So if you're expecting that,
it's not even an expectation. It's just looking at this cover art.
Yeah.
It makes me want to play a video game of some sort.
I think what's doing it for me is how it kind of almost sort of
It's got Street Fighter vibe.
Street Fighter, Dragon Ball Fighter Z vibe type with the logo.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's giving that.
Yeah. The Indomitable Martial King. That's looks pretty sick. Looks pretty sick. I might actually end up reading this one.
Do you think this will get adapted possibly into an anime potentially, since it's the same studio?
It might. There's a chance. It's so new though.
Yeah. How long are manhwa usually out before they get a?
It really depends.
Okay.
Solo Leveling hit 175 chapters. Continues to be one of the most popular web comics, and it squeaked on in.
Fair.
So I see a lot of like manga that are B tier, sometimes C tier, end up with
Anime adaptation.
animes. So I think that Japan is starting to wake up to the possibilities that a lot of these stories told in Korea and China have. I don't know what the publishing rights and the pipelines are for that. I can't really comment on whether or not it'll happen. I would like to. I would like to see that. I think that'd be pretty cool, especially given the style of a lot of the effects that happen in this series. Like, I would love to see those animated. I would love to see someone take a crack at making those move.
Making those muscles bulge.
Making the muscles bulge, making the flames flame, making the mana.
Monate.
Money.
Maybe. Who knows?
Sounds like I'm saying something else.
Right. It sounds like it's getting late and we are
Got one more.
ready to
One
go.
more.
We got
Uno
one
mas.
last one. One last one we can call it good for this.
Even he's
manhwa
holding up
special.
a one.
He is. All right. Murim login. I thought when you were saying this earlier, I thought you were saying like Murim Lagan, as in like Gurren Lagann. Nope. It is Murim login, as in like log into a computer. And this one is on Kinmei. Back to our usual home. An era where hunters thrive on hunting monsters that come from gates. Jin Taekyung is a low-ranked hunter who picks up a VR machine and accidentally logs into the gate. What?
Huh?
That is like a mix of like 4 different things.
Yeah, it is.
Which is set in the world of martial arts. After many ups and downs, Taekyung is able to escape the world. The strength and skills which he received in the Murim were all able to be carried over back to the real world. This allows him to continue making a living as a hunter, but he decides to return back to the world of Murim out of care for his NPC friends. That would be sick.
You just learn all the shit.
Yeah.
That
Like, I can go play a VR game and become fucking ripped.
Yeah.
And or like, I guess not even ripped. It's like I can go into a VR game and learn.
I know kung fu.
Yeah. It's literally that. Actually, it's just the Matrix of I can go.
Not
into,
just I know kung fu, because I know you guys aren't super familiar with the Murim genre, but like I know fantasy kung fu. I know kung fu that will allow me to turn into a god if I get powerful enough.
Yeah.
Like, it's a very cool idea. This story does. So I usually stay away from like the VR machine type stories. I actually stayed away from this one for a really long time because oftentimes the VR machine type stories just cut all the tension out.
right.
Because whatever's happening in the VR world is strictly digital, but it's the crux of the plot, right?
Yeah.
All your narrative tension and everything that's interesting is happening in this VR world. And then the person in question logs out, sells the items they make for money, goes and gets some beef, lives a good life, and then goes back into the interesting story. This does a really good job of, one, making it deeply unclear if the Murim login is actually logging into a game or not, right?
Really.
Because you get into the VR machine and you go to the Murim, but these abilities are coming back to you in real life. This VR machine isn't like a highly available one. It's like, it's like finding Chucky in the attic, right? Like it's
Don't like that.
old defunct piece of technology that nobody really uses, and we don't really know where it came from. But it allows you to go to this other world, and it gives you powers. So, and the other thing is the system that exists in the VR, I believe, follows him out of the VR, which implies that it has some force beyond the VR machine.
Mm-hmm.
As well as he is prompted to return to the VR at some point and gets like penalized. Like he doesn't just decide to go back kind of care for his NPC friends. He kind of gets a little bit forced to. Actually, no, I think he's just having nightmares. That's what happens. But anyways, the conflict and the stories that happen in the Murim world are so interesting. It's some of the best Murim fiction that I've read, right? And that, given all the Murim fiction I've read, that's very high praise. It's really compelling. It's interesting. It's action packed. The art's really cool. The power scaling is neither too OP or too underpowered. They introduce different elements. They escalate the scale of the conflict in really interesting ways. I love it. I'm very good. I think it's currently on. We're waiting for the 4th season to start right now. I think it's some like 200 chapters in, 187.
Mm-hmm.
The only weakness I would attribute to it is the balance between the real world versus the Murim world. The Murim world is much more interesting. There's much more going on.
Shocking.
The characters are much richer. You tend to care more about it, right? Versus like the real world equivalent. And so like you'll pop into the Murim world and you remember everything that's going on because it was so vivid, and then you go back to the real world and you're like, oh yeah, they were doing this thing with a guild and I don't remember this guy. What's going on? But do
you think that's intentional, maybe?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. They do a good job of sort of like bringing you around eventually, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the way that Murim is written and the powers and the skills that characters get in Murim, or like the fantasy martial arts, are scaled. Once you go into the martial arts world and you come back out, you're kicking everybody's ass.
Right.
It doesn't matter who it is.
Right.
Like the people in the upper levels of these fantasy martial arts fictions, they're kicking Superman's ass. They're kicking Omni-Man's ass. Like, and I don't say that like facetiously. I say that with consideration. Dio's got an upper hand because he can stop time, but that really depends on who you're facing and from which comic, right? Like so yeah, the Murim makes his life in the real world more like robust, but the conflicts that happen there are still not as interesting as the ones that happen in Murim. Put it that way.
Okay.
Which is honestly, it's a fairly middling complaint. So,
yeah. Well, it very much seems like if you. So, am I correct in saying this is kind of like solo leveling then? That this is.
No.
Oh, all right. Never mind then.
in what ways?
It's all solo leveling. Just skin different.
You're a hunter, a low rank one, because your power is pretty bad.
Oh,
your
yes.
monsters come from gates.
It starts off in a dungeon world, which I like solo leveling.
Okay.
That's so your main world is in a solo leveling setting, and your VR world is in a martial arts Murim setting.
Okay.
So it is similar to solo leveling in that respect.
Okay. Well then, that is another high recommended one. It sounds like it's been at it for a while. So if you're looking for something a little more robust and get into something to really sink your teeth into, sounds like a good one.
Azura Scans has picked this up, but I don't think they've scanlated the full thing because I think they only picked it up after it was in the hundreds. It was a sleeper for a while.
Oh, okay. Well, oh man, this was a long one.
It was.
I think we are pushing 3 hours, and we're not done yet. You're going down there. We gotta do the outro.
I'm gonna put my name back.
Yeah. Nope. There
All right,
go.
we can continue.
All right. Yeah, no, that was a decent one. No breaks either.
Yeah.
Outside of getting the audio back on track.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was our Manhwa special, or Manga Manhwa special.
Make time for your manhwa.
Make time for your Manhwa.
Yes. Honestly, do it. There's some good stuff out there, and I forgot just how good a lot of these stories are.
Same. There was a time where I did used to love reading like comics and shit like this. And I don't have time to get back into it. I'll be honest. I just don't have the time in the day to get back into this. If I didn't have disc golf as well as like the video editing for the podcast, maybe. And I might try to read some stuff here and there. There's like Give Me the Pacifier that I'm still trying to read. I do want to hit like Triple S class, Suicide Hunter, as well as the World's Greatest Real Estate Agent. I might get to them eventually, but I don't have the hobbyist time that like Fluff has.
Well,
To sink
neither do
into
I.
it.
I just read a quarter chapter every time I complete a task at work.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It's my little 2-minute reward.
His little 2-minute reward. All right, fair. But hey, that is a beast of an episode. I don't know how long this is going to be after editing, but I don't feel like there's a lot to edit out.
Yeah.
I think there's, outside of a few like stumbling of words.
Every
Just-
time Kenton talks.
Damn.
Oh well, there goes an hour.
That's enough a quick hour, actually. That'd be a quick time
That is
shaver.
a quick old hour. No, this was. Whew.
Could you imagine an episode, but it's just
Every time he
like-
starts to talk, it just cuts.
it just cuts out and then comes back afterwards. We respond to it, and then it cuts again when he.
I want you to keep all of his inhales, though.
I'm gonna make a whole episode that's just us inhaling.
I'll make the audio noises for you to use in those moments.
I would just use the inhales.
No, you got to use these ones. They're
So whenever I edit dialogue, I always cut those out. But if you listen to like music,
Yeah, they keep those
they
in.
keep those in,
Yeah,
which I always thought was really interesting.
it is. I think because with music, like when you say you edit dialogue, are you just muting those moments or are you cutting it out? Because that is going to make the difference here.
I mute them, or I do a pass. I do a sound elimination pass, like a spot.
Don't forget that needs to be pointing at your mouth.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of
Hello, it's me. I'm back.
all up in your nose. There you go. But yeah, like I think with music, I think people are just used to it because of obviously music has been around long before editing software was. And so I think there's just like a not traditionalism, I guess tradition to it of like is what people are used to with music.
Yeah.
As well as because with music, the pacing of the pacing and the rhythm of everything kind of plays into it.
The other thing though is I don't notice it unless I'm singing along.
I was gonna say that's about the only time I notice it as well, and it works because it gives me the moment to know when I need to breathe.
Yeah. And I wonder if that's on purpose, but anyways,
Very,
sorry.
very, very possibly could be. But yeah, that's interesting. With a 3-hour podcast, a 2.5-hour podcast, I do not edit out the breathing. Y'all gonna get whatever the fuck y'all gonna get. There's enough editing that has to go on with this bitch. That
Since you're hearing all this.
I'm going to punch you in the fucking kidney. There's
I
so
got some
much-
crackers and peanut butter. You want to listen to me smack?
I really don't, but I want some Pop-Tarts all of a sudden.
Impromptu ASMR session?
No.
Mukbang session?
Not right now. I have to go to bed.
Yeah.
I need to go, baby. I need to go sleepy.
Into a night. What's the fucking IEB in the Mixology? Oh, fuck. I need to memorize that so I can just whip that out of my booty hole. Are you done?
ASMR.
I'm going to go sit on your face.
Crack this up.
I got him to stop.
Do it. Do it.
Oh no! Oh no!
Do it.
Not in front of Christian
wait.
Kerbo.
Not in
Not
front of
for
Christian
free.
Kerbo. Not for free. That's for the OnlyFans. Y'all have to.
Speaking of, follow our socials.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say we made the OnlyFans. I didn't realize we made the OnlyFans already.
Patreon,
Oh, yeah.
YouTube, Spotify.
Yeah, YouTube, Spotify is the main places to catch the podcast.
TikTok, we have a TikTok.
We do technically have a TikTok. I need to upload more to it. I have not done that in a while. Instagram, Twitter, same deal. We have them. I have to start actually posting shit to it. Y'all could also do that. Y'all have to log in.
We do.
Y'all do.
Or we post.
Doesn't all have to be me. I'm just saying, like,
You definitely right about that.
Send us some clips to post.
y'all could also make the
You
clips
could
too.
make the clips for sure.
Wait, just random stuff, I guess, that we would do?
If y'all wanted to. Either way, I know, like, it because most of the time, you could also just like grab like remixes and make remixes and clips from YouTube and shit. Straight up.
Oh, I get, yeah.
But it is, I understand. Like, I'm supposed to be using Opus clips to do. That's just it's fucking behind the scenes shit. Y'all get out of here. This ain't for y'all.
Oh no, my boudoir.
My boudoirs. You got to do a boudoir set. You have to do a boudoir set.
Okay.
Do it for Christian Kirby.
Do it for Christian. Do it for
Christian Kerbo.
Kerbo. All right, it's late as fuck. We have been going for 10, 11, 12, 3. Yeah, 3 hours, almost exactly.
Hard and strong.
Yeah. It is time for us to go to bed. So
About
hopefully
that time.
in a minute. Anyway, hopefully y'all enjoyed. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this fucking feature length Manhwa episode.
Get to reading.
Get to reading. Y'all got plenty of material to go through now.
If you don't got things to read after this, you're like me. In which case, you should
You're in good
send
company.
me messages so that I can give you recommendations.
Yes. If y'all have any recommendations for us, go ahead and leave them in the comments.
Seriously, I'm always looking for more.
He's always looking for more. We're always looking for interesting things to read, and it doesn't have to be good.
If you recommend solo leveling to me, I'll hunt you down and I'll kill your family.
That's fair. Wait. That's a weirdly aggressive take on a very good app.
It's extremely good, all right, but it's like,
We've already talked about it for one.
well,
in
yeah, but
multiple
it's
formats.
like recommending that you read To Kill a Mockingbird in middle school. All right, everybody's gonna do it. You bring up a book, and they're like, "Okay, you should read this one," and you're like, "I read that one 3 times already, Nancy. Okay, I don't need you to continue to recommend this to me." All right, it's like when you bring up webtoons, you always know that they've read Lore Olympus. All right, you don't have to recommend Lore Olympus. You can ask them what they think of Lore Olympus. All right. Anyways,
I don't know what Lore Olympus is.
Always a Nancy. It's
It's always a Nancy. Well, don't recommend this man solo leveling. Or
Next.
do, because it could also be funny.
Next time, Lore Olympus.
how fucking
Yeah, let's talk about Lore Olympus
how
next
dare
time.
you curse me with this?
I know, right?
You brought it on.
You also brought it on yourself. You can't say I cursed you with it.
No,
Well, anywho,
it's not my fault.
yeah, well, it is now.
Stay gay.
Bye.
Arts.
not my
What about
fault.
Marshall?
I didn't know it.